Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Another week, another episode. This is Stats Over Politics. As always, I'm your host, Shaun alongside my guys, Mr. Kevin Dent, Mr. Jaevon Toddy, and we have a special guest. You guys know him real well because we have had him on countless times. None other than Kaz Johnson of Kazzybear TV. Welcome back, Kaz. You're still muted, so we can't hear you on our end, but it's good to see you.
My bad. Sorry about that. No.
Okay.
Back.
Chad is roasting.
It was great.
Chad is roasting you right now.
Already? No. It's been I mean, every year the same thing. You know, patience after that Super Bowl. And it's like just a long off season. Got the draft. You know, what I'm saying, you got OTAs. You got training camp. The preseason starts up, and we all get the same amount of excitement. You know what I mean? That we get every season. So I've been waiting, and I just started making my football content myself at the beginning of August for the first time. And so with you guys having me back on the show, I'm like, oh yeah, football season is definitely here. So I appreciate you, man, for real.
Yes, sir. We're so happy to have you, and Kaz will be joining us all throughout football season as he has in the last 2 years, and we appreciate him for that. I just want to get to one YouTube comment because it really hit the nail on the head of what Kaz was getting to. Is Uncle Manny says, bring on the football talk. We are definitely ready for football. Have a great show. We appreciate you as always, Uncle Manny. Jaevon Toddy, the Podfather. How are we doing?
You know, it's football season when people are hitting me up saying, what's a week one lock? So you got college coming up. College is week 0 is this week. So it's going to be a tricky week. Mainly might be blowouts, but we got something to watch on Saturday. But pretty much this Saturday throughout the rest of the year, we just got football every weekend for the rest of the year. Can't get no better than that, guys. Can't get no better than that.
Exactly. Kevin Dent, is that a Oklahoma Sooners Jalen
Boomer
Hurts
Sooner,
jersey?
baby. Of course it is. What? Boomer Sooner.
Where's the Alabama one?
Turn up, Kev.
What else they be saying? All that. Horns down and everything.
Horns.
You know, doing great today, man.
Ooh.
It's going to be 2 Eagles fans and 2 Niner fans all football long. We're going to give the people what they want. I know everyone's used to Kevin getting jumped on. You know, Eagles have one bad game, and Shaun's like, oh, Kevin, they're in shambles. Toddy's like, so now, you know, to have that support, to have somebody have my back through the roller coasters of a football season feels great. So I'm happy to have you here, Kaz, Toddy, Shaun.
Yeah, man. I got you, brother. I got you, man. I got you.
It's a dream come true for Kev.
Certainly is. And for those who are audio-only listeners, Kevin gave us a little bit of a smirk, the classic Toddy smirk, a.k.a. the classic Shrek smirk, which will be popping up all throughout this entire football season.
There's a new one.
Per Toddy, I'm going to say per Toddy, we got to get the Drewski one on here.
The Drewski one, the new one.
we got to bring the AJ back with football season. Got to bring out all the tricks.
We're going to be new ones all season long. I can't wait.
Well, AJ never left. We still got the oldie but goodies from previous football seasons here on Stats.
Yeah, we don't need the football jerseys. I thought that was going up next.
I know. I decided to be respectful today, Kevin. I got them both. They're both right there. You see the same panel that I do. I resisted. You know, you both were men that paid up your bets, and I respect that. We're on to a new season. There may be more bets to come, but for now, we'll play nice. But before we keep things moving here and get things started here on episode number 109 of Stats Over Politics, I did want to give a quick shout out to our guy Marcus, who was our first in-person audience member for our second in-person podcast last week at Jaevon's crib. And shout out to Marcus because he was not only there to support us as an audience member, but then he also took my camera and took some great photos of us, which you can check out on our social media pages at Stats Over Politics on most pages, except on X, Stats or Politics. Make sure to check it out to see all the great content that Kevin's putting out there. Go ahead, Kevin.
Before we move on, Alyssa's very mad at the three of us because she was like, so fuck me, huh? I took pictures. I was there. I did everything Marcus did.
She never got any credit.
Well, and as I said to Kevin last week when we were recording, I don't have it loaded up on the panel. I think I deleted it a while back. Oh wait, here we go. There it is. There it is. Shout out to Alyssa because she was our OG photographer. The reason why I haven't been putting these up everywhere is because, as you can see, Kevin is wearing an Eric Armstead jersey. Man, well, now he's a Jacksonville Jaguar, but still a 49er jersey. Looks great on you, Kevin. And that's why we didn't see those photos all over social media. As I told Kevin last week, out of respect, I wouldn't have wanted to see myself wearing Kelly Green all over social media unless it's A's Kelly Green. And so I wasn't going to post Kevin wearing that Armstead jersey everywhere. We did it once we took those photos, but we move on.
Appreciate that, Shaun.
Yeah,
posted everywhere.
Well, shit. Now, just in the art of fairness, I showed Kevin wearing a 49ers jersey. I mean, I guess we got to see Kaz wearing a Deebo Samuel jersey as well. That is a bet.
In public is insane. I have to do it in a safe place with
you still got
controlled environment.
You still got that saved. Come on, man.
In public, it's insane. That's what we go to the bathroom, go in the stall, and take it off and walk out.
Right?
Hey, at the end of the day, who got the last laugh? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. So it's all
Patrick
good.
Mahomes got the last laugh against all of us, and so now we get
we beat the Chiefs last season.
I was gonna say,
congratulations on your regular season win. I'm proud of you. We beat the Eagles. Stink at the link.
Why would I do that? Why would I do that? We were doing so good. I just said we beat the Chiefs. You didn't have to mention that because then I got to bring in the NFC Championship, and then we're gonna just ramble.
Well, and as you guys can tell, things have gotten started real quickly here on episode number 109 of Stats Over Politics. So, guys, let's jump right into it as we were discussing the Philadelphia Eagles, who may have flamed out to end last season, but a new season is upon us. And now, as we're going to preview the AFC East and the NFC East here on episode 109 of Stats Over Politics, only like 17 days away from the NFL season getting started. And so I'm very excited for that. And Kaz, since you are an Eagles fan, just like Kevin, maybe more of a realistic Eagles fan based on our group chat conversations. Go ahead, Kevin. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, before you go on, I was completely kidding. I was like, we got to have a neutral person because you asked me, I'm saying we're going 17-0. I might be disrespectful and say we're going 20-0, but that's for another time, another place. But if anyone wants to do it, I told Toddy, I said I'm not doing it unless Shaun does it because Toddy would go. I talked to Toddy about this, and he's like 8-9. I'm like, all right, you know what? Yeah. So if anyone was gonna do it, it was gonna have to be Shaun, or I was gonna refuse to come on the show. So I'm happy. At least you'll do it.
Yeah, and last week, Toddy, just to fill you in, Kaz, during our second in-person episode, Toddy did not even have the Eagles ranked in his top 10, but the Chicago Bears are a top 10 team led by Caleb Williams.
Oh my Lord!
And the Bucks were 10. Brother. It gets even trickier.
Whoa! I mean, I can even see that over the Bears take, brother. I mean, come on, my guy. I know you're a big college guy, so I understand. I get it, bro. I get it, but this is the NFL, baby. It's a different beast. It's different.
I'm just a mad scientist who's been wearing the cape for the last 2 years, so I'm going to keep wearing the cape.
One other thing that we should fill Kaz in on before we officially dive into all these schedules is, Kevin, did you want to tell Kaz about your escapade into Instagram comments when it comes to the 49ers wide receiver room?
Oh, Kaz, dog. I've been on my Joel shit. Every piece of Brandon, every tweet, every Instagram about Brandon Ayuk, I'm like, damn, worst receiver corps in the NFL. Oh, it was when Chosen got signed. I was like, well, welcome to the worst receiving corps in the NFL. And I got like 100 comments, 100 likes, and the comments were going nuts. I probably said like 2-3 things. And then they just went on. It got to the point where they went to my page and like, oh, you're an Eagles fan. And then that went on for 20 minutes. And then they went back at yelling at each other. So hopefully, today's the day. Jerry lied to us. We shut down the group chat. We were on BA watch. Man. And nothing happened. And we are still on BA watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, as we continue to be on BA Watch, Kevin was extremely disappointed that the news didn't hit last week during our in-person episode. But now we shall keep it moving until that news does officially drop, because I know that at least Jaevon, Kevin, you probably also have the Schefter and Rappaport notifications on. And so if something breaks here on Monday, August 19th at 7:17 Pacific Standard Time, 9:17 out in Iowa where Kaz is, then we will report about it. We will obviously talk about it. But until then, it's time to preview.
Scrapping the rest of the show. All we're talking about is BA to the Steelers.
Oh, okay. Anyways, so now let's get to the NFC East. Starting out, Kaz, with the Philadelphia Eagles. If you could break down their schedule for us, please.
Oh, yeah. Real quick, just you guys can hear me fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, perfect. All right, so we're just gonna go through the schedule real quick. Starting off with week 1. Well, we kick off in Brazil against the Green Bay Packers.
Oh shit! Hold on, let me cut you off over here. But for clip purposes, we got to make sure we keep these timely. I just want to make sure I threw that out there.
Yep. I got you, bro.
So you have to do the whole round.
I'm gonna go through. Yep, I'm gonna go through everything real quick. All right, all the weeks real quick. So, week 1 we got the Green Bay Packers in Brazil. Week 2 we are taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Week 3 the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. Week 4 at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Week 5 the bye week, which is crazy. Week 6 we have the Browns. Week 7 the New York Giants. Week 8, which is the game I'm planning to go to, the Cincinnati Bengals. Week 9 the Jacksonville Jaguars. Week 10 Dallas Cowboys. Week 11 the Commanders. 12 the Los Angeles Rams. 13 the Baltimore Ravens, might go to that game as well. 14 Carolina Panthers. 15 Pittsburgh Steelers. 16 Washington Commanders again, and then 17 of course closing out with the Dallas Cowboys. And then not closing out, but week 18 closing out with the New York Giants. Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants. So that is our schedule. I mean, overall thoughts on the schedule, I'm pretty chill with it. I am. I mean, there'll be a couple challenging games. I think that the pack opening up with the Packers in Brazil, not nervous about it all, but I think Green Bay is continuing to get better and better every year. Jordan Love is definitely, I mean, he's the man. He got the bag. They put all their faith in him. I don't expect the Packers to show up and just, roll over and die, but I think that the Philadelphia Eagles will not have a problem handling the Packers. I think we're the better team. I think that we're still better coached. Our offense is way too high powered. I'm not going to talk much about that, but the Packers game is one of those games where it could be a great game, but I wouldn't be surprised if Philly wins by at least 10. Moving on through the rest of the season, though, not really concerned about anybody else outside of, I would say, the Bengals. I think that they're going to make a surge this year. They had a very down year, obviously, with Joe Burrow being injured. There was talks about T. Higgins possibly not being a Bengal. He's still a Bengal. They got rid of Joe Mixon, but they're still going to be fine in that backfield because Joe Mixon really wasn't a force to be reckoned with in the first place. But I just think that Joe Burrow is going to be going on a tear, and it's in Cincinnati. So that is going to be a massive game for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then, obviously, the Cowboys, I mean, we all know what that's going to be. It's going to be a bloodbath no matter what. Hopefully this year is the year that we can sweep them. I think that we can. The Cowboys are currently in a position to where, what are they doing? You know what I mean? Are they going to sign CD? Is this all for show? They got to sign CD. They got to sign Dak. They got to sign Micah Parsons. Cowboys are the least of my concern right now when it comes to the NFC East. But the game that I'm looking forward to the most next year is definitely the Baltimore Ravens week 13. Outside of that, not worried about too much when it comes to our schedule. It's not a crazy. Who? The who? I can't even spell Commanders, brother. Listen, but no, it's mainly for me right now. Not trying to be overly confident, but the Bengals, I think they're going to be a problem next year. They've maintained that receiving core, and they have a very angry, confident, and eager to prove more. Joe Burrow. Sorry, Joe Burrow. Ready to put in the work. And I'm not a big Joe Burrow guy. I think there's another guy that's better than him. And when we get to our quarterback talk later on, you're going to know who I mentioned. But Joe Burrow is looking. He's going to be a problem. He
Browns?
is in that game. Our offense, the Browns' defense is great. They're the number one defense in the NFL coming in. But we also have an offense that might be top 2, top 3. So I'm not worried about the Browns. As long as our defense shows up, that should be a game that we should win. But no, the Baltimore Ravens, 100%. Lamar Jackson MVP. The Ravens are certainly a top-tier defense. It is in Baltimore, and Baltimore, as of right now, if I'm not mistaken, they are favored to win the AFC. I think they're plus 145 favors to win over the rest of the division. So, yeah, I think the Ravens game in Week 13 in the blistering cold in Baltimore is going to be a massive game. It's going to be a swing game. It's going to be a game that's going to decide where the Eagles finish. I'm pretty sure that Kevin can agree with me. I think they're going to be in position to get that number 1 seed, be right there knocking on the door, and the Ravens could be the team that could disrupt that. So that Ravens game is going to be the biggest game.
So what is the official win and loss total that you have for the Philadelphia Eagles this upcoming season?
Yeah, I'm not sure what I said last year. I think I talked to you guys about it, but going through the schedule.
I'll consult the notepad real quick. I might have it.
Yeah, you might have it. I couldn't remember if I did it myself or if I was with you guys, but I'll play it a little safe, just because we got to find out about this defense. Our offense ain't gonna be a problem at all. Hey, that offense, just move aside.
A problem.
There's nothing you can do about that offense. There's no way. Anytime our offense does not prevail, it'll be a self-inflicted wound. It will not be because of what the defense has forced us to not be able to do. It'll be self-inflicted. We are way too high-powered. I know a lot of you guys have seen the clips of Jalen Hurts back to speed finally, running, having a blast. You know what I'm saying? Throwing the football at the torch because, you know what I'm saying, what's it, the whole the Olympic NFL flag football team. I mean, he's, as of right now, he's kind of looked like the face of the NFL, and I'm loving it. A confident Jalen Hurts. We have a top 5 tight end, potentially top 3. We have probably the best receiving core in the NFL once all said and done, and possibly the best offense, a great offensive line, and now we added Saquon Barkley. It's not going to be an issue at all. So, honestly, when it comes down to record, I would say just to play it safe because the defense right now is unpredictable. We can go 13-4. 13-4.
Who are your starting defensive backs?
That is playing it very safe. As of right now, they're talking about Keely Ringo getting the start over Isaiah Rodgers. Talks about it. That was actually today. But it's going to be Darius Slay.
Yes.
Probably Isaiah Rodgers. We got, first off, I mean, got Quinn Mitchell, baby. You know what I'm saying, at that slot. And, also, we got.
You don't think he's too big to play in the slot?
He is matched up against 2 of the best receivers in the NFL, and they're going rep for rep. Iron sharpens iron. I'm not worried about Quinn Mitchell at all. I want him to play on the outside, but you know what? If he can play that slot position significantly better than Avonte Maddox, by all means, do what you got to do. It's a weak area for us right now because we've had health issues in our secondary, obviously, especially with Avonte Maddox getting hurt. But it's all going to be dependent more so on our linebackers and this new Vic Fangio defense. Who knows? They're talking a lot about Nolan Smith getting a lot of reps now. You know what I mean? Like, we got Bryce Huff, who's replacing Hassan Reddick. Thank God. Holy crap, man. The Jets are in shambles when it comes to that. But, you got Bryce Huff. You still got Josh Sweat, who I think he's going to come back and play a lot better than he did last season. And still in the middle there, you got Jalen Carter, who's going to be a problem. It depends on these linebackers, man. If these linebackers can show up, I'm not worried about our secondary. We got a veteran presence of Darius Slay, who, even though he's not the same Darius Slay that he was, 3, 4, or 5 years ago, it's okay. When you are that skilled at the position, you don't need to be a top-tier athlete. You got to be a smart athlete. We've seen plenty of cornerbacks before do what Darius Slay is doing right now. Darius Slay still finished as a top corner in the league last year without really doing much. So I'm not really worried about the secondary. At the safety position, Bradbury's moving back there. They got Cooper DeJean. They got also Cooper DeJean will probably play a little bit of slot too, but they're talking about him playing a little bit of safety. Obviously, we got Chalk Doc, we got Reed Blankenship. And CJ, obviously Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, of course, the number 1. I'm not worried about our safeties. I'm not worried about our cornerbacks. I'm worried about just whether or not this defense will click or not, and that's it. So, again, playing it safe, 13-4 on the safer side, but we should finish 14-3.
Kevin, what do you think?
Record-wise or just overall?
What do you think of Kaz's analysis?
I love it. He's giving respect where respect is due. There's 4 losses in there, so I'm assuming we're splitting with someone in the division. I was talking to Toddy about it. With the Cowboys being in shambles, with the Commanders commandering and the Giants being the Giants, I don't see us losing a divisional game. And I know Toddy says, well, they play us hard and you never know. Well, when's the last time you guys lost to the Commanders? 2 years ago. Oh, yeah, but they were the first loss of your 17-0 season and and Jaden Daniels and all that cute shit. And yeah, no, that's not happening here. So my overall projection is 16-1. The only games I see us losing are the Bengals and the Ravens. I don't think we lose both, but we lose one.
So they go undefeated.
No, 16-1. 16-1.
No. Excuse me. Undefeated in the NFC East.
Let me be frank. Undefeated in the NFC.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you did name 2 AFC teams. Pardon me. Toddy, any rebuttals?
I mean, I think the Eagles are going to be good this year. Obviously, they got better in the offseason.
Clip that. Toddy said the Eagles will be good.
Good, not great.
Hey, at least
I mean,
they used to be shit.
The teams in the NFC the Eagles will be one of those teams. They're usually always in that upper echelon. I feel like there's a couple of games that you guys kind of like look over. Like I feel like that Packers game can be very tricky. They're only favored by 1.5, 2 points, according to Vegas and several sports books. That game can go either way, I think. I wouldn't scoff at the Atlanta game week 2. Now I know it is Kirk Cousins, and every time he comes to the link,
what day is that game on time?
He usually shoots down his legs. So, I mean, it's not a game that I'm saying that they're going to lose, but something that they should watch out for. I feel like Atlanta's going to be a better team this year. The Browns game is another game that I feel like Kaz kind of went over. He's like, oh, yeah, they got a good defense, but, they're another team that could be in question of Deshaun. What is Deshaun Watson? We don't know. Nick Chubb's coming back. They have a new receiving core. They still have Stefanski, so I feel like that's another team that can be formidable. And the Commanders. Commanders is another team who I am pretty high on this year. I feel like they play them close pretty much every single year. I mean, they had Sam Howell throwing the ball to whoever it was last year. So, I mean, you guys should win those games. So, I think it's always been Jalen Hurts has kind of been, the default best quarterback. Some Cowboy fans might argue back at that. I think the Cowboys play you guys pretty well every time you guys usually play them. So you guys usually go back and forth with the Cowboys. To say that you're going to sweep them this year, I'm not sure, even though they did win the division last year. So it's kind of – so, I mean, there's a couple of games on the schedule that you could look at as wins, but it's like you kind of got to double take it. I can see the Eagles going anywhere from 13-4 to 12-5 in that range. So,
yeah,
I mean, they went like 10-1 in the first like 11 games, and then they just went on a skid the rest of the year. So, different team. That's last year. I'm trying to be the guy because Kevin keeps saying that was last year, and our team is different now. We got new coordinators.
That's what I sound like when we talk.
Fangio is gonna be the guy. Kellen Moore.
That's some bass in your voice.
So,
Kellen Moore is going to save us big time, bro.
I'm not very high on your guys' coach. I don't know if you know that, Kaz. I don't think he really does anything. I feel like he's just there to kind of just point at guys and tell them, hey, you got to go over here and do this. And Kellen and Vic are going to be doing the majority of the work. I think the Eagles they'll be a good team. I think they're a playoff team for sure this year. Should win the division. Should win the division.
Should is the key word there. We shall see if they ultimately do, because apparently the Cowboys won the division last year by default. So we will now keep it moving as we stay in the NFC East. Toddy, let's hear about, as you like to call them, the Commandos, aka Washington Commanders.
Yeah, man. I think Jaden's gonna have a really, really good year. I think just this team, you got a defensive head coach, first of all. You got new personnel everywhere. You got new quarterback, you have new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new ownership. So everything is just brand new in DC. So we're kind of just gonna run through the schedule here. We're gonna do the first 3 games. They are going to be at the Bucks. I think that's a win. That's a game that I think last year would have been like, they're probably not going to be able to win it. I think the quarterback play is going to change, and they're going to be able to get a W there. So I got them winning there. You got the Bucks next week, or not the Bucks, the Giants next week at home. I think the Giants are in shambles. I think the the Commandos get that win. You got to travel to Cincinnati next week. I think that's going to be It's going to be a tough stretch for them. You're on the road against the Cardinals. Now this is going to be a toss-up game. Like I said a couple of years ago, I might have said the Commanders lose this game, but I feel like this is a game that they can for sure win. So I'm going to give them a win against the Cardinals. Versus the Browns, I feel like that defense is going to be problems for Jaden Daniels early into his career, so I'm going to give them a loss there. They got the Ravens next week. It's going to be a very, very tough game for them. I mean, the Ravens are one of the best teams in the league. They're on the road, so I'm going to give them a loss there. I think this is a good bounce back week for them. You got the Panthers next week. I feel like that's going to be a W for them. Next week, you got old Caleb coming into town. Number 1 versus number 2. I think that's going to be a really, really good game. A lot of eyeballs are going to be on that game. It should be on primetime. I'm not sure if it is. But I do have that as a loss because
Did you say the Commanders and the Bears are on primetime?
It should be a primetime game. It's number 1 versus number 2. Plus Caleb's playing. So I mean, I don't know.
This ain't the NBA.
I mean, I don't know what
in
you
the
want me to
NBA
say.
they do one versus
the guys
primetime.
going at it. This is going to be a lot of eyeballs are going to be on this game. So I don't know.
I mean, by that time, Caleb might be exposed. So you know what I'm saying? Nobody.
They flex stuff all the time. You never know.
Yeah.
That's true. But I have them losing to the Bears there. You got the Steelers next week. I'm not too high on the Steelers this year. I think the Commanders win that game. They're going to Philly the week after that. I do have them losing that game at the Link. Got the Cowboys next week. I do think they beat the Cowboys at home. Got the Titans again next week. I feel like they go on a cool win streak after this. Titans, W. At the Saints, W. Versus the Eagles at home, coming off a couple of wins. I think they win that game. Versus the Falcons, another W. As Kevin leaves the stream. And then I think they lose. So they basically rattle off like 5 straight wins. But I do have them losing to the Cowboys the last week of the season. But I do have the Commanders going 11-6. I think this is a team who last year they needed solid quarterback play. I feel like they have a lot in place. You have Austin Eckler, a veteran running back. You're getting Zach Ertz, a veteran tight end. And I think their receiving core is very, very solid. They have Terry McLaurin. And they have Jahan Dotson, who I think could be a really, really good wide receiver too. He just finds the end zone. So Cliff Kingsbury as a coordinator, I feel like can definitely change this offensive outlook. So I think the Commanders could be a sneakily playoff team, a wild card team perhaps. But that stretch, I have them winning 5 games. It's going to all really depend on how Jaden Daniels plays. If he is a guy that likes to run around and kind of improvise and not want to slide, he can get injured really, really quick. But I do know that he's lightning quick. He's a guy that can make plays with his legs and be able to air it out deep. We saw that in the first preseason game. But the Commanders were always a team who they always had pieces, I feel like, around them, but they just never could get the quarterback spot right. And I think Jaden Daniels is going to be one of those guys that can turn around the Commanders franchise, going from one of those worst teams to the better teams in the NFL.
So real quick, last year they finished 4-13. You think there's going to be that big of a turnaround to win 11 games? Because
absolutely, the quarterback spot is everything. You could go back to even when the Niners, I think it was 4 years ago, when basically everybody was hurt, didn't have a quarterback. That was the year. After that year, we drafted Nick Bosa, and so I think
was it Nick Mullins' year? That
was like the Nick Mullins, C.J. Beathard. I think Jimmy Garoppolo tore his ACL. Pretty much the entire season was thrown away. So when you don't have a quarterback, you really don't have anything. So I mean, they were 4-13.
They were 4-13.
Yeah, I think Jaden Daniels is a guy that he's going to be a culture setter. He's going to be able to change the franchise. I think the Commanders are going to be a really, really good team.
You're high on that, man. I mean, you're high. I can see. It's kind of like the Bears. You know, it's like, the Bears were a bad team last year, and we all know that Caleb Williams is definitely going to make that team better. But like, we're talking from 4-13 to 11 wins in the playoffs.
7-1 difference. Yeah,
That's big. That's huge. That's massive in the NFL.
There's a
Rookie of
lot
the
of
year stuff, Toddy. You know that, right?
There's a lot of games on here that could have went like if Jaden Daniels wasn't on this team last year, you would just been like, yeah, the Commanders are their cake now. Like it's easy. Like every time you put the Commanders on your schedule, it was like an easy victory. I don't see that this year because I think Jaden Daniels is that special.
I think that I definitely agree that I think the Commanders are going to be better for sure. Even outside of Eckler, they already had a good 1-2 punch with who was it? Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson. Like that's a good 1-2 punch. In the NFL, you don't really see too many 1-2 tangents at running back anymore. That's like consistent, and they're going to deliver if they get the ball at the right time. So they've had a good receiving core. They've had okay tight end play, and they've definitely lacked in the quarterback. I just was like, wow, 11 wins in a playoff spot, having the Eagles and the Cowboys. Even you having them beat the Cowboys at home, the Cowboys will lose at home.
I think the NFC is going to be a lot tougher now because you got all of these quarterbacks getting infused into the NFC because a lot of these quarterbacks that are talked about and highly thought of are in the AFC. Now you're getting Caleb Williams, he's on the Bears in the NFC. Jaden Daniels in the NFC. Michael Penix, a guy who plays for the Falcons, he's also in the NFC. So I feel like the NFC is going to just get tougher with the influx of all these quarterbacks getting drafted to NFC teams. So there's going to be a lot spread around as far as the talent goes. But I think Jaden has the talent to definitely get this team to the playoffs for sure.
You're the college guy, man, so you would know.
Yeah, Toddy's really high on this quarterback class. Apparently, I thought it was all Caleb Williams love, but that Jaden Daniels love is strong. 7-win improvement, strong.
He averaged like 40 points last year.
That means that's rookie of the year, Toddy. That means Caleb doesn't win. I hope you understand that.
Well,
Unless
the Commanders
have an
I don't have the
improvement.
Commanders in the top 10. So if you think I'm high on Jaden,
Oh, geez.
So what are the Bears gonna go? Because they were what 7 and something.
well, I don't have I wasn't in charge of the Bears schedule.
Well,
when we get there, we can get there.
Yeah, we'll get to the Bears next week, or the week after. I think next week is going to be our full NFL season preview, so then we can make sure that we have all 4 of us together for that. And so now, what happens with the Commanders is really contingent on how the Eagles do, obviously, how the Cowboys do. But before I diagnose and break down the Dallas Cowboys schedule here on episode 109 of Stats Over Politics, Kevin, what is the reasoning and logic that you have used every time you downgrade the 49ers like you did last week where you didn't have them as a top 2 or 3 team? What was the reasoning for that?
Turmoil, shambles.
The fact that even though Brandon Ayuk is at training camp, he was in street clothes and his
He was at the game yesterday too.
Sweatsuit. Yep.
It's his job, Toddy. He's got to be at every event.
Well, Brandon Ayuk is there. Trent Williams isn't. When it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb, not there right now. Jerry Jones says, we don't got to pay him. Says, oh, yeah, you're missed, but you're not missed right now during the preseason because he wouldn't play in the preseason anyways. But then we see the post, at least I saw it in our group chat. Maybe it was posted today. Maybe it was this past weekend where CeeDee Lamb posts the evil Spider-Man in all black. What is CeeDee Lamb going to do? That's the biggest question mark when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys in this upcoming season. Kevin, you ready to clip this for me? Because, Kevin, are you ready to clip this for me?
I'm ready. Let's do this shit.
Them boys aren't ready for what I got to say. So here we go. Week 1, the Dallas Cowboys play at the Cleveland Browns. That's Tom Brady's first game in the broadcast booth officially. The Browns have the reigning, defending, undisputed Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett from Texas A&M University. And I think that the Cowboys, not only if they don't have CeeDee Lamb, they're going to lose this game. If they have CeeDee Lamb, they still probably aren't going to win this game. And so I got the Browns winning at home on Fox with Tom Brady there in the booth. So the Cowboys start 0-1. Then that takes us to next week where the Cowboys play week 2 at home against the Saints. I'm going to give the Cowboys a win right there just because, I'm not really much of a believer in Derek Carr based on what we've seen of him in New Orleans. So I'm going to give the Cowboys a win there. That takes us to week 3 with the Cowboys hosting the Baltimore Ravens. Not much needs to be said. The Ravens win, Cowboys lose, Cowboys start 1-2. Then the Cowboys play at the New York Giants in New Jersey. I'm going to give the Cowboys a win there because Daniel Jones sucks. He's better than Kenny Pickett, but he sucks. Then that takes us to week 5 at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether if it's Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, they're going to defeat the Cowboys because I think the Cowboys are going to be sleeping on them here. And so I'm going to give the Steelers a win here. That brings the Cowboys to 2-3. Then that brings us to week 6. Dallas is back at home. They host the NFC runner-up in the Detroit Lions. And the Lions, they're on a redemption tour this year. I don't know how far it's going to go, but at least in the regular season, they're going to be
Eagles don't want to play.
Fight hard. So I'm going to give the Lions a win at Jerry's World. So the Cowboys go into the week 7 bye at 2-4, according to my prediction.
Guess who they got next week?
Guess who they got coming out of the bye? Even after all that rest, they got to go to Santa Clara, play at the 49ers. We know that the 49ers are the Cowboys' boogeyman, whether if it's in the regular season, whether if it's in the playoffs. The Cowboys are going to lose in Santa Clara. So that brings them to 2-5. At the Atlanta Falcons, Kirko, could he pull off the upset? Probably. But at this point, the Cowboys haven't won in a month. They've lost 3 in a row. I'm going to give the Cowboys the win in Atlanta. So that brings us to week 10. At home versus the Eagles. Anything can happen in a division game, but I'm going to give the Eagles the win here because it's week 10. It's right in the thick of things, and Philly is going to be trying to assert themselves as one of the best teams in the NFC and the NFL. So that's another L for the Cowboys. Then the Cowboys stay in the state of Texas. They host the Houston Texans. Coleridge, Bernard. Enough said. Texans win. I see.
How dare you, Todd? You played with Michigan in college football.
I don't.
Then
You did once.
Week 12 at the Commanders. I say that the Cowboys break their losing streak here. They beat the Commandos. Even as high as Jaevon is on the Commanders, I think the Cowboys win week 12 in Washington. Then that takes us to week 13. Cowboys back at home against the New York Giants. Cowboys win. Congrats. 2 wins in a row. First time that happened all year for them. Then that takes us to week 14 at home against the Bengals. Joe Burrow, Slim Shady, whatever you want to call him, he's going to cook the Cowboys at Jerry World with the national spotlight on him. Bengals win. That brings us to week 15 at the Panthers. Sorry, Bryce Young, you're just not him yet. So I'm going to give the win to the Cowboys week 15 at the Panthers. Week 16 at home against Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to say that Baker Mayfield, he catches them sleeping. They're talking down on him. They're not expecting Baker Mayfield to beat him. Well, that's exactly what Tampa's going to do week 16. Then that takes us week 17 at the Philadelphia Eagles. At this point, whether if it's the division or maybe they'll be competing for the 1 seed, if the Eagles are competing for the 1 seed at this point, then they may still be all in. But if the Eagles have wrapped up the NFC East and they don't have a shot at the 1 seed, they're going to start resting their guys. And so I'm going to say just for that, we see this a lot with the late season matchups within the division. And so even at Philadelphia, I'm going to say the Cowboys get a win here. Then week 17, Cowboys host the Commanders. And because I'm not as high on the Commanders as Jaevon is, I'm going to say that the Cowboys get another one against the Commanders. They sweep that season series. And so if you have been doing your math at home, I have the Dallas Cowboys at 8-9 this season. That's probably not even a playoff spot. Sorry, that's what I got here on Stats Over Politics. But as Uncle Manny says, I'm a realistic Cowboys fan. We're definitely not all in. I would say 10-7 or 9-8. That's coming from a Cowboys fan. He may be realistic, but I'm not too far off. Dallas is going to go 8-9 this season, and it has a lot to do with CeeDee Lamb, whether he will be there or not. I say Dallas goes 8-9. So that is my prediction. Any comments, thoughts from anyone?
Just real quick, if you don't, don't get me wrong. I pray to God you're correct, brother. I really do, because I'm just tired of it. Okay, the Dak Prescott reign, the Zeke train, all that other dumb shit. It's over with. It's time for the Cowboys to go back to where they need to be, where they deserve to be. And that's the bottom of the fucking barrel. Okay. Now I want to ask you this: How many home games do you have the Dallas Cowboys losing? If you don't mind me asking. If you got that,
let's take a look. So we got week 3 against the Ravens.
Okay.
Let's see. We got week 6 against the Lions.
Mhm.
Week 10 against the Eagles. Week 11 against the Texans. Week 14 against the Bengals. Week 16 against the Buccaneers. So that is 6 home games that the
Out of
Dallas
what,
Cowboys
7?
will lose this year.
Yeah.
6 out of 8, probably 6 out of 8 or 9. I mean,
not 14 games anymore.
As much as I would love for that to be a thing, Dallas is probably the best home team in the NFL. They don't lose at home, even without CeeDee Lamb. A fact is a fact. I mean, I'm on your guys' show. You know what I'm saying? This is stats over politics. Stats don't lie when it comes to that shit. And I hate to admit it. They don't lose at home. They don't lose at home. So even with CD possibly not being a Cowboy, which I think if when it's all said and done, this is all just a ploy to put the spotlight on the Cowboys. You know, commotion and drama in Dallas. You know, all eyes on us. You know, he's going to sign, and I hate it, but he's going to get a contract. All right, he's going to, and they're going to be just fine. And CeeDee Lamb's going to have a great year because he's a great fucking receiver. But what I'll say is this. Dallas ain't losing a bunch of home games. That's all I'm going to say. I want them to, and I pray to God you're right. They're not losing a bunch of home games. Now, that record, you know, the whole 8-9, it's still possible. They can win a lot of home games and still go 8-9. But it's just, I mean, they have some tough matchups at home. Like, you know, you mentioned the Lions, I believe, obviously Philadelphia. That's always a tough matchup. And then also the Texans, which, you know, who knows? The Texans actually might not be as good as they were last year or they portrayed. That might have been a fluke. I'm not saying that I want it to happen. I love CJ Stroud. I'm super high on CJ Stroud. Very high on CJ Stroud. But like how many times have we seen a team all of a sudden blossom and all of a sudden go right back down the shitter in the second year after they get a good quarterback or a good receiver or whatever, right? So I mean, Dallas at home, I just can't foresee them losing a lot of games, even without CeeDee Lamb. They're the best home field game in the NFL. I mean, they don't lose at home. They haven't lost like 2 straight years. So,
and based on recent history, you are completely right, Kaz. But you know, streaks are meant to be broken. And my counterpoint to that would be, well, first of all, with the Texans, they added all of those weapons. It's hard to believe that CJ is going to have a sophomore slump. But counterpoint, I'm just saying, the 6 home losses that I have for the Cowboys at Jerry's World are all against teams that made the playoffs last year. So not terrible. They're not terrible. I mean, they're not terrible teams they're losing to. They're not losing to the Commandos at home. So I'm just saying that I'm just saying. So as we keep things moving here on episode 109 of Stats Over Politics, Kevin, it's now time to get to the New York Giants schedule to close out the NFC East.
Bro.
New York Giants. If you caught the pod last week, Toddy said Malik Neighbors was better than this guy, better than that guy, better than this guy. I'm a huge Malik Neighbors fan. I think he's going to be very, very good. He's not Maserati. Like Shaun mentioned last week, there was a tier. It's Maserati and everybody else. So with that being said, I have the Giants finishing 4-13.
Yeah.
Week 1, Vikings. Wes is going to kill me when he hears this. I think the Vikings are in a good spot. I don't think JJ was ready. I think Sam Darnold's going to be able to lead them to a Week 1 victory. Justin Jefferson makes all his quarterbacks look good. It's plain and simple. Week 2 at Commanders. Yeah, at Commanders. I have this game being an L, but I do have them splitting, so I have them winning at home. Browns, I have them losing. Number 1 defense. We saw Daniel Jones throw a safety pick 6 in the preseason, so we know what's coming with that. Cowboys, this is going to be one of those easy games on the road. Dak always plays well in New York. I think by this week we'll have a for sure understanding of what the Cowboys are, and even if we think the Cowboys suck, they're still going to be able to beat the Giants. I have them going on the road to Seattle. I think the Seattle Seahawks could be very, very good. I'll save that for the NFC West preview. But, Manny, I'm with you. Bengals, unfortunately. You muted, Shaun.
Oh, my God. Every single time that I really have something to say, I got myself muted. Correct yourself, Kevin. Manny said he's a free agent, so he ain't in Seattle no more.
That is true. But homeboy is now. We have a new
Kyle.
hawk in the group chat.
Shout out
Yeah,
Kyle.
we have a new hawk in the group chat.
Shout out to Kyle.
I got them. The Bengals coming to town. Unfortunately, Joey B, Jamar Chase, T Higgins. Got to smack them up. Eagles here, week 7. I have the Eagles coming out victorious. I do have them getting their second win of the season, playing at Pittsburgh, playing the Steelers. I think that's going to be a game where I think Justin Fields will be playing by then. And if Justin Fields is playing by then they're tanking. And Shador's on his way. So I'm going to take the Giants beating the Steelers.
Shador's going to
I mentioned that the Commanders will split with the Giants. So the next game, Commanders come to New York. The Giants will win. They play the Panthers the next week, getting their their last victory of the year, beating the Carolina Panthers. They have the bye week, week 11, week 12. Baker comes to town. I think they're just going to trample them. Cowboys again on Thanksgiving. Like Kaz said, Cowboys don't lose at home, especially not when there's a turkey leg at the end of the game. Saints, I think the Saints are going to want to lose this game as much as they want because I think the Saints are going to have a down year. But I think even with them wanting to be bad, they won't be bad enough to lose to the Giants. Ravens come to town. Ravens going to whoop that ass. Week 16, this was a toss-up game. I feel like the Falcons will have a wrap on the division and be that one game away. And the Giants love to turn up at the end of the year for nothing and ruin their draft picks. So I could see them losing this game, or the Falcons losing this game, the Giants winning, but I took the Falcons. Then they have to go to the Colts. I think they're going to lose that game. I'm huge on Shane and Anthony, AR-15, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Downs, all those guys. I think they'll be really good. And then finishing with the Eagles, like Shaun mentioned, by this time the Eagles can be sitting back, icing, getting ready for their week 1 scrimmage or their super wild card weekend scrimmage against whoever doesn't make the playoffs. So, yeah, I have the Giants finishing a whopping 4-13, beating the Vikings, Commanders, Panthers, and Vikings. Those are the 4 games I have them winning.
Damn right, Kevin, that the Eagles are going to be getting ready for their super wild card weekend matchup because the Niners are going to get the 1 seed again.
Yeah, that went over your head, bro. I said my scrimmage. That means we're going to play like, the Giants. They're going to come to Philly and tune us up. No.
Yeah. For super wild card weekend.
No, because we won't be playing is what I was saying. Like, we won't be playing. So we have the weekend free to scrimmage teams. And, Jalen likes to ask them what they were thinking. So, they can come sit down. We have a red table conversation because, we won't be playing. So
red table conversation.
Any thoughts, guys, on the 4-13 record for the New York Giants?
We kind of saw, like, with the Hard Knocks, the delusion of believing in Daniel Jones and just them letting Saquon walk was kind of bizarre. Just on their outlook on what they think this is. Now, I think Malik Neighbors is probably going to be one of the better rookie wide receivers in the league. I'm very high on him. Going back to our last podcast, but I mean, he's going to be getting Daniel Jones throwing him the ball. So I don't know if that's a reward. I mean, it's more like a punishment. So I feel like we'll see Drew Lock playing at some point this year because Daniel Jones is going to get benched. I don't think he's going to do that.
Malik Neighbors, unfortunately, all-world talent, obviously, but it's going to be the same way George Pickens. The man's going to be wide open, and he's not going to get hit, so it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. He's going to do everything that he needs to do to get open and to make plays, and the ball just won't be where it needs to be. So with Malik Neighbors, it's one of those things where, we know what he's capable of. We know that he's going to be great. We know that he has the potential, but he's unfortunately on the wrong team. It's the same thing with like Saquon Barkley. The Giants got worse. Let's just call it what it is. They got worse. All right. You got rid of a generational talent running back, whether he's injured or not. When he's on, he's on. That's point blank period. You can't get rid of a Saquon Barkley and expect to be better because you got Malik Neighbors. You got the same quarterback that shouldn't be there, that got paid, that didn't deserve shit. Okay. And then who else? I don't even know who's on the other side of the ball right now. I don't even care. Who's it? Darius Slayton? Who else is over there? Who? You think
Hyatt?
Jalen Hyatt? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So hold up. Now wait a minute. And Malik Neighbors is going to save the day. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you actually might be being generous with 4 wins. You might be being very generous. They might win 2 or 3. New York is screwed because Washington got better. Philadelphia somehow, some way got better. Dallas got a little worse possibly, but even if they get CD, they're probably about the same as they were the previous year, give or take. We'll find out when we get there. They got Zeke back, and that's not a positive thing because even though Zeke has been on a tear when it comes to playing for the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC East, he's definitely ran the show as a top running back in the last 6 years for sure, but he's old now, okay? Dallas, even at the worst, is better than the New York Giants. The Giants might win 2 or 3 games.
It'll be interesting. Toddy, can you just explain for the audio-only listeners what you're doing right now?
Shador Sanders, you are a New York Giant.
Yeah, I could honestly.
He's either going to New York or he's going to Vegas. One of the two.
Probably Vegas because they named Gardner Minshew as their new starting quarterback today. I don't know how well that's going to work out. As we
get Devontae Adams out of here, bro. Get him out of there, please. For the love of God, they're ruining this man's career.
Hell no, we don't need him on no contender. Keep his ass.
That's cool, man. But I like Devontae, man. I want to see Devontae thrive, bro. I like him, man. We're gonna watch this man go through
bring him to Philly. He can
3 and 4. I'm saying, bro, get him out of there, man. I want to see him thrive.
Tony, I don't think you understand, bro. In all these scenarios, there's no AJ Brown. So we gave him 32 annually, second highest in the world. We not bringing trios.
As we keep things moving here on episode 109 of Stats Over Politics, Shaun Holko alongside Kaz Johnson, Kevin Dent, and Jaevon Toddy. Guys, as we covered one side of the East, now it's time to get to the AFC side of it as we get to our AFC East preview. And I'll just kick this thing off real quick because I have the Miami Dolphins. And I am really high on the Dolphins, but I also try to remain realistic. And so the following is my predictions for the Miami Dolphins schedule this year. So starting out week 1, they play at home against the Jags in an in-state matchup. I'm going to say that the Dolphins get a win there. Then they play at home against the Bills, toughest matchup that they'll have to start the season. I'm going to say that they actually get a W against the Bills because we remember last year, the Dolphins had a great start to the season, kind of rocky towards the middle, and then they made the playoffs, had to go play in negative degree weather because they fell off during the season. But I got them starting 2-0. Then that takes us to week 3 at the Seahawks, formerly known as Manny Anderson's team. And I'm going to say that the Dolphins get another win here. So the Dolphins move to 3-0. Then they play at home against the Titans. I'm going to say that's another win for the Dolphins. So that's 4-0. At the Patriots week 5, that could be tricky. Division matchups always are. But I don't know if I'm believing in Drake May quite yet, especially given the weapons that he has around him are kind of lacking. And so I'm going to say that the Dolphins to start the season 5-0 going into their bye week at week 6. Then that takes us to week 7 at the Indianapolis Colts. I do believe in Shane Steichen, a guy from El Dorado Hills, California. However, I'm going to say that the Dolphins keep rolling with some rest, and the Dolphins start the season 6-0. So then that takes us to week 8 at home against the Cardinals. I mean, Kyler Murray could get things going with Marvin Harrison Jr., the clear offensive rookie of the year. But I'm going to say the Dolphins keep rolling because I really like this Dolphins team. And so that starts the Dolphins out at 7-0. Another great start to the season for the Miami Dolphins at 7-0. But this is where things get a little rocky, kind of like we saw last season. So then that takes us to week 9 at the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are going to get their lick back. This is the Dolphins' first loss, so this drops them to 7-1. At the Los Angeles Rams, as much as I'd love to be a biased hater as a 49ers fan, I'm going to say that the Rams get the win here. Dolphins drop 2 in a row after they start the season 7-0. Because you're playing on the road 2 weeks in a row. You got to travel across the country after probably having a tough division loss in Buffalo. So I'm going to say that the Dolphins lose in LA against the Rams. That takes us to week 11 at home against the Raiders. I'm going to say that's a dub. Week 12 at home against the Patriots. Another dub. Then that brings us to week 13 at Green Bay against the Packers. And I'm not huge on Jordan Love, but he's going to do enough in this game. And I'm going to say that the Packers get the win. This is, again, where it gets really interesting because then week 14, Dolphins are at home against the Jets. I think that Aaron Rodgers, if healthy, is battling for a playoff spot at this point, could very well be battling for the division. We'll hear what you guys have to say about the other 3 teams. But I'm going to say that the Jets get a win in Miami. So that's 2 losses in a row for the Dolphins and 4 of their last 6 after starting the season 7-0. That brings us to week 15 at the Houston Texans. Coleridge Bernard, Texans win. So then that brings us to week 16 at home against the San Francisco 49ers. At this point, the Dolphins have lost 3 games in a row, 5 of their last 7. Are they really going to lose to the 49ers? Is Mike McDaniel going to lose to the guy that he used to coach for? Hell yeah, he is. Kevin already knew. So the 49ers win in Miami against the Dolphins, even with the I forgot to write down the time for this game, so it may not be a day game. But even with the advantage at Hard Rock Stadium, I'm going to say the 49ers win on the road in Week 16. And so that's 4 losses in a row, 6 of their last 8 for the Dolphins after I have them starting the season 7-0. They finished the season with their last 2 games on the road at the Browns, at the Jets. As much as I like the Browns and their defense, I'm going to actually say that the Dolphins break their losing streak here, Week 17 at the Browns. And then Week 18 at the Jets, the Dolphins get their lick back from losing at home against the Jets. And so I have the Dolphins at 11-6 overall. I think that the AFC East will be highly competitive, except for the New England Patriots. And so 11-6 could win them the division. If not, it'll get them one of those 3 wild card spots. Hopefully for them, they get a playoff game. If they're a wild card team, then they won't. So they got to win the division to at least get a home game. But I got the Dolphins at 11-6 after a 7-0 start. But that's the way I got it. Any thoughts or comments, guys?
No, we all know when it gets cold, Tua starts to piss down his leg. So a lot of those games are going to be cold.
I'm curious to see the new additions for the new additions for the Dolphins, having to replace a bunch of guys on defense. The guys that they drafted, Taj Washington, USC Trojan, would like to see what he looks like in the Mike McDaniel system. But yeah, pretty much, Kevin, I think we're all kind of thinking the same thing. Whenever it starts to get cold outside, Tua does not have the month of May.
It's cold.
So, yeah, I mean, the Dolphins, they're gonna be fast. They'll put up points. I mean, hell, there was a point in time when Tua threw for like 5 touchdowns, 407 yards. People were like, he's the MVP. It was nice, cool outside. It was sunny outside. But they play in a division with a bunch of teams that have a lot of cold weather cities. So that's why whenever they travel, it's usually trouble. Especially, we would imagine that the Dolphins would be on the road if they were to get to the playoffs. So I want to see what they look like against playoff teams. Are they going to be able to perform against those guys? Not even just cold weather games. Against playoff teams, will they be able to hold their own?
That's a great point. And something else I will add with all the Tua discussion is that I watched an interview with him with the Dan Le Batard show today on YouTube. And
Yep.
Tua really seems to be locked in. Like he has a completely different mindset. You can tell that being in Mike McDaniel's system and having a coach that has confidence in you and is just going to give you positive reinforcement rather than opposed to Brian Flores, where Brian Flores was saying, you suck, you're terrible, and all these things under the sun to try and motivate him with reverse psychology. Tua doesn't have the mindset that Tom Brady does. Like Tom Brady said back in January, if a coach is telling me I suck, that just motivates me even more. It makes me want to go even harder. Tua doesn't have that mindset. Tua needs that positive reinforcement. And that's exactly what Mike McDaniel has brought, not only with his great play calling and schemes under the Shanahan tree, not the Shanahan-McVay tree, under the Shanahan tree, he brings a lot besides just positive reinforcement. And I have a sneaky suspicion that Tua is going to have a big year this year. Saying he's a Pro Bowler isn't saying much, but I think that he'll have a big season this year. So I got the Dolphins at 11-6, as Toddy was saying. 11-6 probably gets them a wild card spot. unless they have the tiebreakers to win them the division. It really depends on what happens with the Jets and the Bills. But I see a big year coming for Tua. Tyreek Hill, number 1 player in the NFL, according to the NFL Top 100. Jalen Waddle.
Y'all thought I was crazy for not having Patty on number 1. Y'all called me crazy.
I mean, just because. Well, I will say that the players are the ones who vote on that, right?
So won the Super Bowl.
Jason Tatum won the finals. We're not gonna say he's number 1.
It's NFL season, Kevin. It's football season now.
I will say this about the Dolphins. I mean, 11-6. That's respectful. I think that again, I like to look at things like this: are teams taking steps backwards or forwards? And when it comes to the Dolphins, I think that they are going to be more poised than ever. I think that Tua's he's a heavily criticized quarterback, rightfully so. I mean, you got all these weapons around. You got Tyreek Hill, obviously, the
Jalen Waddle,
number 1 player in the NFL. You got Jalen Waddle. You got Devin A-Chain back there. You know what I'm saying? Raheem Mostert. He's still there, right? Did Mostert leave?
Yeah, I think Mostert's still there. I'll have to factor
there.
But he's still. Yeah, I'm saying, yeah. I mean, the Dolphins should still have a high-powered offense. Let's just call it what it is, right? Anywhere Tyreek Hill is, that offense is going to put up numbers. It's going to put up a lot of yards, right? So all Tua needs to do is just continue to just do what Tua does, and you know what I'm saying, be sharp. Don't turn the ball over. You don't play hero ball, and they'll be just fine. Because if you look at the division, like when teams in your division are getting worse, you have the advantage. You think the Bills got better when they got rid of Stephon Diggs? The answer is no. Whether he had a great season or not, which he actually didn't have a bad. He had a weird season because it was inconsistent, but like Stephon Diggs didn't have a terrible season. It ain't like he went off for like 700 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he had a sneaky, solid season. Okay, but he's gone now. Okay, now Josh Allen has to literally put the team on his entire back because James Cook ain't gonna be the guy running the show. And Dalton Kincaid's great, you know what I mean. And I think he's an awesome tight end, but he's not a Travis Kelce, a Mark Andrews, a Rob Gronkowski type guy is gonna completely change that offense. So the Bills got worse. They got worse. What's that face for?
I feel like you conveniently omitted George Kittle.
Oh yeah, I mean, because why would I? The guy's never really healthy. You know what I mean? Like he's off and on. But anyways, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like Dalton Kincaid, he's a great asset to the Buffalo Bills, but he's not a guy who's gonna make that team great. He's a great asset, and that's it. So Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, from my perspective, have gotten a lot worse. Losing Stephon Diggs makes any defense they play not have a problem. You know what you got to do. Get to Josh Allen. Get him down.
1,100 yards and 107 catches.
Yeah, and he had a down. He had such a silent year. Nobody was talking about that. Still went over 1,000 yards, over 100 catches. Like
8 touchdowns.
That's a huge loss.
Yeah.
It's massive. You know what I'm saying? Like you had him and Gabe Davis, bro. Like the Bills have gotten significantly worse. The Miami Dolphins did not. The Patriots, we'll get there when I go on my Patriots. My Patriots take when it comes to their record. And then who else you have? The Jets, which, we'll get there obviously as well. So I think the Dolphins, 11-6 is very respectful. I wouldn't be surprised if they win 13 games. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
All right. Now, next is the team that probably will compete the most with the Miami Dolphins, all depending on Aaron Rodgers' health, I guess. And that is the Buffalo Bills. So, Kevin, if you could take us through their schedule.
Yes, and like Kaz said, when I went through this, I was under the impression that Kincaid, Cook, and Keon Coleman as a trio isn't very good. I know there's a lot of hype around Keon.
Respect
Coleman.
Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, no. So there's a lot of hope for this team, and saying that Josh Allen could just kind of put the team on his back. He's been injured a lot without putting the team on his back, so now putting all that added pressure on him could make some things different. So I have them finishing 8-9.
Whoa!
So first game, September 8th against the Cardinals. I have them beating the Cardinals. Week 2 against the Dolphins. I have them beating the Dolphins, or I have them splitting with the Dolphins. So whichever one they lose to in that game, I have them losing to the Jaguars. Dougie P. I think Trey Lance and them really get back on track.
Trevor Lawrence
for them to get Brian Thomas Jr. They brought in Gabe Davis. They have Christian Kirk. They had Calvin Ridley last year just really couldn't get healthy. So I think this new receiving room, I think, is going to be a huge thing for them, for Trevor himself. Then they have the Ravens. I have them losing that game, so they're at 2-2. I have them going on a 4-game losing streak. I have them losing the next 2 games to the Texans and the Jets. I have them splitting with the Jets, so inevitably they will win one of those games later on. The Texans or the Titans, I don't know what we're going to get out of Will Levis. Last year, after his first 2 games, Will Levis is the future. Will Levis is there. And then the rest of the year went on, and he showed why he's Will Levis. So I have them winning this game, but that doesn't really go to show much. I have them losing to the Seahawks. Like I said, I am very big on the Seahawks this year. We will get into that when we do our NFC East or NFC West preview. Dolphins, like I said, I have them splitting, so they will get this one. And I have them losing to the Colts. I am very big on the Colts this year. I think when we saw what they did without Anthony Richardson, so to bring him into the mix now only makes them better. And then unfortunately, they play the Kansas City Chiefs, so they're on losing two games in a row going into the bye week. And unfortunately, I don't know what other team, or the Cowboys, I think, coming out of the bye, a trip to Santa Clara, Sunday Night Football. Sorry, Joshy. This is another one. Then they go up to LA, play the Rams. I think they beat the Rams. The Lions come to town. I think they lose to the Lions. They beat the Patriots twice. And they beat the Jets the last game of the year, and that puts them at 8-9. So with Shaun saying the Dolphins are 11-6, depending on what these guys say, Patriots or the Bills could be at the bottom. Well, they'll be better than the Patriots. I'm assuming, unless Kaz is saying, 9-8 for Patriots, Drake May, Brandon Ayuka should have came. You never know. But I have them finishing 8-9. Just a really interesting wide receiving room. Right now, they probably compete with the Niners wide receiver room. So, it's not looking too hot. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Bills can do. But I think this year they're just going to struggle.
Talk that talk, man. Talk that talk, baby.
Gotti, any thoughts?
I don't think the Bills go 8-9. I think that's a little extreme. Does this receiving core have some questions? Absolutely. But I feel like Josh Allen will figure a way out on how to get this team.
Is Josh Allen the answer to those questions?
10-7 record. Josh Allen I had him in my top 10 when we did top 10 players in the NFL. I had Josh Allen as one of the top 10 players. So I think he has the capability of being able to carry a team to a playoff victory. I don't see them. So Kev's saying they go 8-9. So I'm saying basically they'd be 2 games better at around about 10-7. So there's a couple of games that would end up flipping. I don't
see the games they lost. You tell me which ones you flip. They split with Miami. I got them lose to Miami, the Jags, the Ravens, Texans.
I think they swept Miami last year, so they could beat them twice.
Without Stephon Diggs?
Sure. But go ahead.
So Dolphins, Jaguars.
They can for sure beat the Jags.
Ravens.
They probably lose that game. And
Texans.
They lose that game. So they could beat the Dolphins twice.
Did they beat the Texans?
No.
Did they beat the Colts?
They could beat the Colts.
And then I'm not going to mention the last 2 teams because obviously you're going to say, yeah, but Chiefs and Niners they don't beat. So 2-game difference. The Jags is a toss-up, but I'm expecting big things for the Jags. Dougie P is on a revenge tour. They say he's on the hot seat.
It's the Jaguars, guys. He has a Jags agenda.
Hey, every year, baby. Dougie P brought me a Super Bowl. Shit, Kaz, show that tattoo, Kaz. Let him know. Yeah. He got a statue in front of our arena.
Does Dougie P have a statue?
He's in the Nick Foles statue.
Oh, my God. Pull one out for Nick. Got to pull one out for Nick. Slap some on the grill for Nick.
Oh.
We got to slap some on the grill for Nick.
Yeah, Kaz, last week you missed it. Kevin was not – he gave him a little bit of respect, but not the amount of respect that I thought Nick Foles deserved.
My man played 10 quarters as a starting quarterback. 10 quarters.
Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm glad he came back to Philly and went ahead and hung it up, man. Retire the jersey, man. Retire the jersey. Retire number 9.
There you go.
Number 9.
There you go. That's what I want to hear.
Might as well retire.
Retire the 9, bro. Retire the 9. I don't want to see 9 or nobody else, bro. But it's our first ring. It is what it is, bro. But we all know the reason why we was in that position, which we ain't gonna talk about it. But we know the reason why. That was the man who actually looked really freaking good the other day, Carson Wentz. So, no Carson Wentz, no Super Bowl. Point blank. Period. I'm calling it what it is.
Carson Wentz got a ring.
Well,
He does.
And right, and a picture.
Oh my God, Eric.
Toddy, why are you doing this to us?
He's got them.
You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean,
You should have known. You should have
Ice
known
me
by now.
out. Where's it? Show them the dog mask. Let them know what time it is.
they know what time it is, bro. You know, I got all the trinkets around, baby. You know,
What dogs that time?
Oh my God, that's crazy. Yeah.
Well, the perfect transition. The team that the Philadelphia Eagles beat in that Super Bowl is the New England Patriots. So, Kaz, if you could please take us through the New England Patriots schedule.
Yeah. All right. So New England. Okay. So I gotta look this up. They might have the hardest schedule in the league, bro. Like, this is not looking good at all. Not looking good at all. So, week 1, they're at Cincinnati. I already told you guys earlier. I think Joe Burrow is going to come back.
He's gonna light that up.
Vengeance, man. I mean, again, the only thing they lost was Joe Mixon, and that actually might not have been a bad thing. That might, you know what I'm saying? That might have been opened up more for these guys just to go out there and just have fun. And I don't even know who is their running back, by the way.
I'll look it up.
They got somebody random. Like I saw, look that up real quick. Let me know.
It ain't Zeke no more.
We got them at the Bengals week 1. Probably will lose by 30 plus points. Next up, they are going to be playing the Seattle Seahawks. This is a potential win. I'm not really sure how this. Yeah, Zach Moss. So this is a potential win. I'm not really sure what Seahawks we're going to get. I mean, the Seahawks are the better team. They're probably going to be favored by probably 4 points or something like that. Nah, not against New England this year, man. Going to take the Seahawks to win that one. So that's 2 losses for the Patriots opening up. Then at the New York Jets, healthy Aaron Rodgers, a hungry Jets team, a Jets team ready to prove a massive point and to take the league by storm. They're losing to the Jets week 3, starting off 0-3. Week 4 at the Niners. Come on. Okay. Next up, you got the Miami Dolphins. They are going to be in New England against the Dolphins. This is going to be one of those weird games where it's probably going to be very close for no reason at all. But
it might be cold.
Dolphins. I cannot foresee the Dolphins losing to the – I'm sorry. I can't. I just cannot. I've tried – here's the thing about the Patriots this year. It's like the only thing that's going to be going for the Patriots is if somehow, some way they develop a great defense. Now, Christian Gonzalez coming back. Matthew Judon obviously still there in the mix. They could possibly –
Judon's gone.
Is he gone? Where'd he go?
He got traded.
Atlanta.
That was – oh, my God. Was that yesterday or 2 days ago?
That was like 2 days ago.
Last week.
Yes.
No, it wasn't a week
I'm
ago.
pretty sure.
Last couple days.
It was a couple of days.
Didn't the Judon trade hit on the day that we were supposed to get the BA news? And so when it came through, we were kind of like, oh, we don't really care because we're waiting on BA, but it was significant.
I want to say it was a couple days ago, but if I was wrong, I just probably wasn't on that side of Twitter at the time. But I actually didn't know he was gone. I knew that he was not practicing, and there was a little bit of disgruntledness. But other than that, that even makes it worse. So if Christian Gonzalez is going to stay today, probably not. Great freaking cornerback. Great cornerback. He's awesome, amazing. But no, there's just not enough there on the Patriots. So when it comes to the Niners, no. Dolphins in Foxborough, no. Texans in Foxborough might be a weird game for no reason, but no. Jags in Foxborough, that might be a win possibly. We'll see, but I have it. No. L after L. Jets are up next again. L. The first win that I have them taking. So I have the Patriots starting off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 0-8, and they get their first win against the Tennessee Titans on the road. Then after that, they go on a two-game win streak against next game, Chicago Bears.
Are we serious, right? Kaz,
I am dead serious. Because here's the thing about the Bears. The Bears are still not a team to be feared. We'll find out. Caleb could be great. He might be amazing. He's probably going to throw about 2 picks to Christian Gonzalez alone, trying to force something that he shouldn't force. But just the Bears are a team that they're beatable. Nobody fears them at home. Nobody fears them on the road. Not yet. We could be dead wrong. But I have the Patriots going on a 2-game win streak, beating the Titans and then beating the Bears. I guarantee when those games come out, as the season progresses, you will be surprised at how close those odds are. So 2 wins, Titans, Bears. Then they see the Rams in Foxborough, lose to the Rams. Then they go to Miami, lose to Miami. Then they go on another 2-game win streak, beating the Colts at home. So they're in Foxborough, beating the Colts. This is going to be a weird one. It's going to be a game that they have no business winning. I think that maybe at this point of the season, a couple guys are banged up. Maybe the Patriots got a little bit of a swagger. They figure some things out on offense. They kind of find their identity or whatever. But the Colts show up at Foxborough and they lay an egg for whatever reason. I'm giving them that one. Then they're at the Arizona Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are in the same position that the Patriots are in. They're not going to be great. They might show signs. Obviously, they got Marvin Harrison Jr. over there, and Kyler Murray Kyler might pop off like crazy, man. Like, let's just call it what it is. You still got James Conner in the backfield. You got Kyler Murray. Now Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, good quarterbacks don't need much. And I think Kyler Murray is a good quarterback. I mean, he's been undersized his entire career. And before, the major injury, we were talking about Kyler Murray being like a top 5, top 7 quarterback. So let's not forget about that. And he ain't going to come back just to be mediocre. He's still in his prime years by far. So we'll see. But I got them somehow, some way beating the Cardinals on the road. And then they close out with the Buffalo Bills loss in Buffalo. The LA Chargers loss in Foxborough. And then they played the Bills. And at this point, the Patriots are obviously their playoff hopes are dead gone. We're looking at draft picks. The Patriots are still rebuilding. They need to lose this game. They lose to the Bills to close out the season, giving the Patriots a record of 4-13, which is exactly what they went last year.
Exactly what they were. They didn't get better, Kaz. They didn't get better at all.
Drake May. I mean, looking at his preseason stats, I'm just like, nothing against the guy. Don't get me wrong. Some teams that get great quarterbacks, but you can get the best quarterback of all time and be on a team that just still has way too many missing pieces. The Patriots, they're one of those teams right now. You got to think within the last 2 years, Belichick, obviously within the last 4 years, Tom Brady gone. I mean, that entire we knew what it was after Brady left, and then obviously them looking like straight dog shit immediately after you left. It's like, this is it. They've won 7 rings in our relevant lifetime. We've all witnessed them. Whether you were really young or not, you were alive through all 7 of those rings. Okay? All 7 of those rings. The Patriots have to go through this little step right now. And it's happening right now before our eyes. The Patriots are going to be back for another 2 or 3 years, and then they'll kind of get back on their feet. Drake May is not the answer. They need a lot more than that. So, yes, the Patriots will go 4-13. Wouldn't be surprised if it's worse than that.
The one thing I will say about the New England Patriots is shout out to Marte Mapu from Sacramento State University, who's playing safety for the New England Patriots. He's a guy that Bill Belichick loved, and that is probably the highest compliment that you could get.
I think there's a couple of things. I think the Patriots quarterback room is better. I think Drake May is better than McCorkle, as we like to call him on the show by his name. I do think a lot of people aren't really talking about them. Jaevon Baker, the UCF product, I think he's going to show a lot of promise. I think Jalen Polk, the receiver from Washington, is going to give them a lot of pop. I think their wide receiver room is better. Would like to see what Kayshon Boutte looks like in his second year in the system. I think their receivers are better. I think their quarterback's better. I don't know how good their team's going to be. I think they could get at least 6 wins, but I mean, Kaz isn't crazy by saying they'll go 4-13. Like, they kind of just stayed the same. I feel like the Patriots drafted better. I wouldn't say they necessarily got better in the off season. I think they drafted really good young guys, and those guys will develop into something. You get Christian Gonzalez back from I think it was like an abdominal injury he had last year. Don't know what Gerard Mayo is. There is a whole bunch of skepticism about him, going into, when was the last time Bill Belichick wasn't the coach for the Patriots? I for sure wasn't alive to see it. So, there's a lot of turnover in New England. There's definitely going to be some growing pains for this team. But I could see the Patriots maybe being a game better, 2 games better, just because I think their offensive situation isn't as abysmal as it was last year. I feel like it's better than it was last year. And I forgot to mention Kendrick Bourne is in that receiver group too. So they could win 5-6 games maybe. Before
is the reason they win 2 more games?
I mean, they cut Juju Smith, so I mean, he was a guy that just signed for $33 million a couple of off seasons ago, and now they just cut him. So I mean,
yeah, they cut Juju. I mean, I know it's not a big deal, but he was solid while he was there. There's no more Zeke there to help out Ramondre Stevenson,
right.
And again, like, you know, you lost your best player, Matthew Judon, and that. So I had this record before I even knew that, because I don't know, that went over my head for whatever reason. I
3-14 then.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like,
they're a game worse.
This is bad, and it's like I'm still gonna stick with 4-13, but I'm just like, they just have a really hard schedule, man. Like, their worst teams they play possibly are the Bears, who might be the Bears might be good. You know what I'm saying? We don't know yet. They might be really freaking good. I actually have a hot take. I put it on my Twitter. I said the Bears might have a top 5 offense. I would not be surprised. Would not be surprised at all. Now, they may not have a top 5 team, but they might have a top 5 offense because they are loaded. As long as Caleb Williams can show up and do what we know he can do, and he's already displayed in the preseason, I don't really, and they're healthy. There's shit, man. You got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, and then Caleb Williams and Cole Kmet. Teams would kill for that. You know what I'm saying? Teams need, you know what I'm saying, a tangent like that, and they don't have that, and that's like their only missing piece. So we'll see. But I mean, outside of that, man, you got the Bears, you got the Cardinals, and you know, the Jags, who I don't think that they're going to be as bad as everybody thinks. I don't think the Jags are just on this plummet. I think the Jags will be okay. They're going to ruffle some feathers, but the problem is, because of Vegas being the way Vegas is, the Patriots are going to do something stupid that nobody expects probably twice this season. So they're probably going to squeak away with 2 stupid wins that nobody saw coming. Probably beat the Bills at home, or you know,
they Bills last year too.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they beat the Bills. I think they also beat the Dolphins, or they get swept. I can't remember. They beat 2 teams last year they had no business beating at all. So I'm like, it's probably going to happen again because Vegas is going to Vegas. We all know that. We know it. It's going to be a game where they're 9.5 point underdogs, 10.5 point underdogs, and they end up winning by 7. So whatever games those are, I don't really know, but I think 4-13 is fair. Maybe 5-12. Maybe. It's a hard maybe.
You know, Drake May might not even be the best rookie quarterback on his own team. Shout out to Joe Milton. I don't actually believe that, but I just thought I would
for the pump fake, guys. I seen him play in college.
Exactly. So, Toddy, if you could do us a favor, please, and close out the AFC East by previewing the New York Jets schedule. All
right, so let's just all hope that Aaron Rodgers plays more than 4 snaps. It's coveted on this show, but I mean, just going back to last year, put a pretty penny on the Jets week 1. Going into the week, I was high on the Jets. I think the Jets were my dark horse Super Bowl team last year, and then Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. I think I put like $300-400 on the Jets last year, week 1. They were dogs at home, and Aaron Rodgers goes down. I was in shambles for 3 quarters. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the entire game, I couldn't believe it. Like, I was done for. Sophia was trying to get me in better spirits. She was saying, like, hey, like, what's wrong? The game's not over yet. Like, the game just started. What's going on? I was like, we're cooked. The game's over. Like, there's no reason. But somehow Josh Allen just kept throwing interceptions, and the game somehow gets into overtime. I keep forgetting the guy's name that returned the kickoff, the punt return.
Hard Knocks dude.
The Hard Knocks dude. But he is a hero. I will let you know that now. He is a modern-day hero. Saved a lot of people's bread that day. But going into week 1, they have the Niners on Monday Night Football. It's going to be tough for them. I think it's going to be kind of a rude awakening. The Niners are favored by 5.5. I do have them losing this first game. Going into week 2, you have the Titans on the road. So they're going to be on the road the first 2 weeks of the season, have them beating the Titans on the road. It's going to be a Monday or a Sunday morning game, one of those 10 a.m. games. I'm not sure what your time is, Kaz, for when football kind of starts, but
Noon, baby, noon
kickoff. Okay, so
noon kickoff, baby.
They have the Patriots next week. Have them beating the Patriots. You have the Broncos, another young quarterback. Probably Bo Nix will be starting by them. I think they beat the Broncos. The Jets. They play the Jets, or the Jets play the Vikings the next week. I think this is they might be going to London. This might be a London game. I feel like that's going to be just a pummeling. They have Sam Darnold. It is on the road, but I do think they beat the Vikings on the road. Monday Night Football game against the Bills. This is going to be a tough game for them. It was a coin flip game for me, but I do have them beating the Bills on Monday Night Football. I think it's going to be a very close game. They beat the Bills on Monday Night Football last year, and that was with Zach Wilson playing quarterback. So that's going to be very interesting. The Jets are going to be in a lot of primetime games because of Aaron Rodgers. So we'll see. They were in a lot of primetime games last year because of Aaron Rodgers, but then he got hurt, and that kind of fucked up the ratings for everybody. So you just saw a lot of Zach Wilson in primetime. You're like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, this was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers. He got hurt in the first 4 snaps of the season. So have them beating the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. That is, you got the Patriots again. Have them sweeping the Patriots. Texans at home on Thursday night is going to be a very, very a lot of eyeballs are going to be on that game. I do think they dropped that game to Coleridge, Bernard, and the boys. Next week, they have the Cardinals. I feel like this is going to be another sneaky game for the Jets, coming off a loss on Thursday Night Football. They'll have a mini bye week, but I do think they dropped this game to the Cardinals. Kaz was mentioning there's these games that these teams have no business winning. I feel like this will be one of those games for the Jets. So they dropped 2 in a row. Next week, they are at home on Sunday Night Football again against the Colts, which is going to be another solid game. Anthony Richardson coming to town. I do think they win on Sunday Night Football. I think they beat Seattle the next week. I don't see where Kevin is saying the Seattle Seahawks are going to be good. I just don't see it. Next week, they travel to the Miami Dolphins. I do have them dropping this game. I think they split with the Dolphins. This will be a very fast-paced game. But I do think Miami wins that game. Going over to the Jags, I have them beating the Jags on the road in Jacksonville. Next week after that, they have the Rams. I do have them beating the Rams. They go to Buffalo the week after that. I do have them splitting with Buffalo. So they dropped that game in Buffalo. I feel like these last couple of games are going to be very important coming down to it because the AFC is very compact. There's a lot of great quarterbacks in that conference, so a lot of guys are going to be fighting for playoff spots. I do think they dropped this game. And then the last week of the season, I have them beating the Dolphins, which basically they would split with almost the entire division and probably except the Patriots. So I do have the Jets going 12-5.
So that has them winning the division in this scenario, yeah? Because you had them going 11-6, Shaun?
Yep,
Okay.
Yep. Took the words right out of my mouth, Kevin, as I still had myself muted. I appreciate it.
Gotcha.
12-5. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, their schedule is pretty favorable. A lot of people are going to kind of point to who else does Aaron Rodgers have to throw the ball to. Kevin brought up to me, we always go back and forth over the week. They signed the Chargers receiver,
Mike Williams.
Mike Williams. That's
going to be a guy. I think the rookie out of Western Kentucky, Malachi Corley, he was a coveted receiver coming out of the draft. He's going to be, I think, their slot guy. A lot of people are going to kind of notice once games are being played, like, okay, this guy can really play. And obviously they have Breece Hall coming out of the backfield. I think he's one of the better running backs in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. Highly talented. I mean, when they drafted Jordan Love, he won MVP. So, I mean, it's just like he can turn that switch on at any given moment. Now, he is coming off an Achilles injury, and he's about to be 40 years old. So that might play a role into it. But, I mean, the Jets have just been dying for a quarterback since Joe Namath. So, I mean, it goes back that far. I mean, we can go back to the Sanchez days with Mark Sanchez. Those
Thank you.
I'm gonna say they had one
championship, baby.
Those two AFC championship games, but I mean, he's
Chad Pennington.
uh,
Chad was that was the
That
best
was
quarterback
good.
they've ever had. That was the best quarterback they've ever had.
There's been some stop gaps in New York.
Ken O'Brien
Sam
from
Darnold.
UC Davis.
we're just
Michael Vick was there.
guys now. So I think the Jets defense was for sure a top 10 defense last year. If they could just play similar to what the defense literally kept them in games, and the offense was so like god awful that the defense was just tired of being on the field. Like they had to force turnovers. Like the defense had to score in some games for them to like legitimately have chances to win these games. So I feel like Aaron Rodgers is going to be night and day. It's going to be night and day for these guys. It's going to be like, oh my God, like we have a chance to win. Like I feel like the confidence that they have going into every week, they're going to believe that they can win every single game as long as 12 is back there calling the snaps.
Right.
They're gonna believe every single week that they're going to be able to win games. I feel like that's going to be a huge morale boost for them, and they're going to be able to win the division, I guess, in this case, going 12-5. So, Jets going 12-5. I think they have a favorable schedule early. They have a favorable schedule early, and that's going to kind of put them ahead of the curve going forward.
And as Kevin said, Joe Namath ain't walking through that door, so hopefully Ocho can get the job done for the Jets this year. And the only thing I'll say in response to that, Jaevon, is I just to be honest, I don't know much about Corley, but the other three key players that you mentioned, it's a bit worrisome because those three guys have major injury histories. When you talk about Mike Williams with his neck, Aaron Rodgers with his legs now. And then you also mentioned Breece Hall, who started out, it was his rookie year, where he was through 4 weeks, amazing, and then out for the rest of the year. And so it's a big question mark. Hopefully they can stay healthy. We just want to see, as fans, we just want to see the best product out there, and that's dependent on health. Obviously, teams don't stay 100% healthy, and so hopefully the Jets already had one season killed by injuries, and so hopefully they can mitigate that, because who knows how much longer Aaron Rodgers and his career will last. As we keep things moving here on episode 109 of Stats Over Politics, Shaun Holko alongside Kevin Dent, Jaevon, Toddy, and Kaz Johnson. Kevin, if you could, please close us out with our favorite recurring segment, Factor Cap.
It's been a while since we had a Factor Cap. Been a lot of this or that, so I had to come on. We got my man Kaz here. I told everybody, bring a top 5 quarterback list. The reason I did is because Tom Brady dropped his top 5 quarterback list. So I figured it's a good time for us to get our list out before the season starts. So, Jaevon, Toddy, I'm coming to you first. Factor Cap. Jalen Hurts is still a top 5 NFL quarterback.
This is a cap. Not based off of last year's performance, because that's basically what we have to go off of last year. So he might be like 7, 8 range, like in top 10 probably. I guess you want my top 5 basically. So I'll say Patrick Mahomes is 1. 2, I will go Lamar Jackson. He won the MVP last year. 3 kind of got tricky for me. I would still have to put Josh Allen up there, just because based off of talent, his numbers might be closer to other quarterbacks. I mean, the 7, 8 range, but I think Josh Allen is still like a top 3 quarterback. 4, you could kind of go either or based off of what you kind of stand for. But I'll probably put Joe Burrow at 4th.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry. I just saw Kaz sit back down in his chair. Sorry, Jaevon.
I got Joe Burrow at my 4. And then, here we go.
For the audio only listeners, I'm sorry, Toddy, I don't mean to cut you off, but for the audio only listeners, Kaz just put on his Jalen Hurts Eagles jersey to match with Kevin's Jalen Hurts Oklahoma Sooners jersey. Toddy, please go ahead with number 5.
5? I kind of went back and forth with this one. Where these guys played at last year, how well did they end the year off? What did they do for their team? Yeah. Even though Joe Burrow was hurt last year, I'll say CJ Stroud, top 5.
Can you run us through your list one more time?
So for clip purposes, 1 I have Patrick Mahomes number 1. 2, I have Lamar Jackson. 3, I have Josh Allen. 4, I have Joe Burrow. 5, I have CJ Stroud. So factor cap is Jalen Hurts a top 5 quarterback? This is a cap.
Don't disregard the question. Still a top 5 quarterback. Jeez.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah, and Toddy, shout out to you for standing on business, because as we remember on November 13th, 2023, Toddy said CJ Stroud is not a top 8 QB as of week 10, but if the Texans win the division in 2023, which they did, he is a top 5 quarterback. Toddy's standing 10 toes down, and I love it.
All right, Shaun, we'll swing it to you next. Factor cap. Jalen Hurts is still a top 5 NFL quarterback.
Goff could be better than him right now, to be honest.
You had your chance.
Okay.
Factor cap. Jalen Hurts is still a top 5 NFL quarterback.
Yeah, so as we know, with me being producer of this show, I get a bit of a preview for our factor cap, this or that. And literally my response to Kevin instantly when he sent this to me is I said, still? He's still a top 5 quarterback in the NFL? But to be fair, well, exactly, Toddy. To be fair, eliminating all bias, after that Super Bowl run, I think we all could agree that we thought Jalen Hurts was a top 5 quarterback. So to say still would probably be after the 2022 season rather than the 2023 season. But we're doing this show with 2 Eagles fans. I'll give you guys the respect. Factor cap, Jalen Hurts is still a top 5 NFL quarterback. This is cap for me. And it's really not like he's not far off of it, honestly. Like, is he a top 5 quarterback? No. Is he a top 10 quarterback? Yes. And I based it off of this list. So I got 5 guys, not the burger place, but I got 5 guys that I know for sure I will put ahead of Jalen Hurts right now. So obviously, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. Justin Herbert is debatable for me. Would I put him there? Probably. But
he puts up really, really good numbers.
Exactly. And so would I put him there? It's questionable. It's debatable. And so let's not even lock him in as number 5. But the one guy I will lock in at number 5 is the same guy that Toddy had at number 5. It's CJ Stroud. He had arguably one of the best rookie seasons that I have seen in my lifetime. I was born in 1998, so there was a lot that happened before me. But from what I could remember, all the stats, the highlights, CJ Stroud had one of the best rookie years that I've seen, especially turning around a dumpster fire organization. And it had a lot to do with DeMeco Ryans, but CJ Stroud was the guy there on the field. And so those are the 5 guys that I have clearly ahead of Jalen Hurts. And just to review, that's Patrick Mahomes, that's Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and CJ Stroud. Where Jalen Hurts falls within that 6 to 10 range is certainly up for debate. I will say right now that he is a top 10 quarterback. But factor cap, Jalen Hurts is still a top 5 NFL quarterback. This is cap.
All right, Kaz, man, it's time to take him to church. Factor cap, Jalen Hurts is still a top 5 NFL quarterback.
This is fact. All bias aside, I'm just going to say this. You guys know what's about to happen, right? Like, do you realize what's about to happen? Like, I don't know how often you pay attention to Philadelphia Eagles media practices, etc. in the off season, and I'm more comfortable than ever having Jalen Hurts as my quarterback, even more than 2022. Which, you know what I'm saying, like that season 2022 when we had the Super Bowl run, like, don't get me wrong, I thought we were going to be good, but we were phenomenal. We were great. Obviously, we went to the Super Bowl, you know what I'm saying? Beat the shit out of the Niners, got to the Super Bowl, right? But Jalen Hurts is his confidence is through the roof. This city rides behind this man 110%. He has gone, I don't know how many throws. I think it's over 200 throws without an interception in training camp. I get it. It's training camp. It's training camp. But to throw over, like, I want to say it's around 200 times, 200 passes without an interception. The guy's comfortable. He has 2 number 1 wide receivers that he's throwing to. He also has Saquon Barkley in the backfield, who can also catch. Can catch better than probably any other running back we've had, besides maybe DeAndre Swift, and that's neither here nor there because he's gone, unfortunately. But it is what it is. And Dallas Goedert, a for sure top 5 tight end, if not potentially top 3. Even if you don't think that talent-wise Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback, he's going to put up top 5 numbers this year. Hate it or love it. So going into this season, without a doubt, a top 5 quarterback, without a doubt. Now, after 2022 season, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of oomph here, all right? A little bit of credit. I had Jalen Hurts on my list when I did a top 10 list with my homeboy from Texas, number 2. After the Super Bowl year, I was like, it's Mahomes and it's Hurts. I have Jalen Hurts. Actually, I did a top 10 list, which I haven't put on my YouTube yet. I'm going to put up here soon with one of my homeboys. He had his top 10 list. I have my top 10 list. I had Hurts at number 4. I was being very, 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 very generous and realistic. I had him at number 4. And it's mainly because going into this season, I cannot foresee this man not putting up crazy numbers. I can't see it. I can't see it. He might not be the best talent-wise, which, that's we can all just disagree with that or agree with it. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, me and Kevin have our own personal bias when it comes to Jalen Hurts. The man can thread the needle. He's got a very, very beautiful, beautiful deep ball. Okay, when guy he's done it for the last 2 years now straight. So you got to give the man his credit. If he gets his wheels back, if he gets protection, Jalen Hurts is going to be a problem. And now we have a for sure better OC. We have even better weapons on offense. If you don't think he's a top 5 quarterback talent wise, he's still going to put up top 5 numbers. Jalen Hurts, without a doubt, is a top 5 quarterback. Without a doubt. It's that simple. We're too high powered on offense, and even though that might put some critics in position to discredit him, you can't do that. You can't, because he's still putting up the numbers. Because if you're going to do that, then do the same thing to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, his entire career, has had the best receiving corps in the NFL. Outside of year 1, before he got Jamar Chase. After that, the best receiving corps. Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. You can't name a better receiving corps in the NFL up until recent years. That's it. And teams that have that right now are teams like the Eagles. And we still don't have.
Who's our third receiver?
Tyler Boyd? Ours?
Yeah.
As of right now, it's what's his name? The guy we drafted, Kevin.
Johnny Wilson?
Yeah, Johnny Wilson. He's the one who's getting first team reps.
Garbage.
Right. But it doesn't no, hey, and that's fine. And that's fine because we still have a top 5.
Oh my God.
And we have 2 top 10 wide receivers. Not many teams can say that besides maybe 2 other teams.
That's all. I like your 2 receivers. I like your 2 receivers, your running back, and your tight end.
I'm just saying.
Wilson's better than Chosen.
I'm saying right now.
He's not our third.
6'7". Yeah, he's not.
You don't have to respect Jalen Hurts talent wise, and that's okay. I understand.
I would like to see what Jalen Hurts looks like without Shane Steichen. That was his one good year that he had with Shane Steichen.
And now he has Kellen Moore, who injuries aside, Dak Prescott broke his ankle. Justin Herbert was injured, and also their entire team plummeted. Was a top OC in the NFL, hands down. Kellen Moore, 100%. Look it up.
Sounds like a lot of hoping and wishing.
No, it sounds like a lot of whole motion with Devonta Smith, and you guys are in trouble.
Yeah, Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith and AJ Brown last year.
You did
all right.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry, but Jalen Hurts factor cap is without a doubt a top 5 quarterback.
Not so we have 2 caps and 1 fact. So I didn't want to bring any stats into it because what I wanted to do was go off of the people that we watch every Sunday. The NFL's list, the players vote, and let's just run through these players. Let me know how.
Before Kevin says anything, he has said that this list is flawed. So take what he said with the
count how many quarterbacks I named, please. Number 1, Tyreek Hill. Number 2, Lamar Jackson. Number 3, CMC. Number 4, Patrick Mahomes. Myles Garrett. Chris Jones, Trent Williams, TJ Watt, Travis Kelce, Max Crosby, Fred Warner, Josh Allen, CeeDee Lamb, George Kittle, Jalen Hurts.
4.
So that's top 5, right? This is no stats. This is called stats over politics, but I let the people decide. And they said he's the man. coming off a bad season, all these picks, all these questions. Hey, man, the players know what's up. The players understand Jalen Hurts is that guy. So my top 5, number 1, like with all of us, Patrick Mahomes. Got to give him credit where credit is due. Number 2, I think this might be different from the rest of your 2s. I have Lamar at 2. You got to give him the credit where the credit is due. Jalen Hurts at 3. I got Coleridge Bernard at 4, and I have Josh Allen at 5. So factor cap, Jalen Hurts is still a top 5 NFL quarterback, and he's not 5. So that's a fact. And he's not 4. So like Kaz is saying, we're going to get another 2022 year of Jalen Hurts, and I hope everybody's ready because he doesn't miss 2 games. Lamar only got 1 more MVP than him.
And,
I just seem like the
facts, baby.
I just think the Eagles are hoping and wishing that this works. I mean, obviously they have Saquon Barkley. They had Devontae Smith and AJ Brown last year. They replaced DeAndre Swift with Saquon Barkley. That's a huge upgrade. I think their offense got better. The team got better. I don't know what Kellen Moore is yet. I feel like he is way better than what they had last year. I think he's obviously a better play caller than their head coach, who no longer calls plays anymore. But I want to see more. I mean, like, I would have thought that Kellen Moore would have took over for the head coaching job in Dallas. I felt like that was kind of where he was as hot as can be. And then he went to, obviously, and with the Chargers, and that kind of went left. So he's kind of bounced around a little bit already. So would like to see what he looks like with Jalen Hurts. Now, this should be a very talented offense, I would like to think, based off of who they have at quarterback, who they have on the outside, and their backfield. So, I mean, it should work. But, I mean, last year, they essentially had the same offense. It didn't go as planned. They were bounced in the first round last year. Now, Kevin's going to probably try to point out some empty-ass stats and say, well,
I didn't bring up a single stat. I just voted all the people that we watch every Sunday. We draft to our fantasy teams, you know?
And then we watch the games and we see that
they play the game.
They lost in
top 5.
the first round. So.
And Jalen Hurts played bad last year. And
I think
top 5.
Jalen Hurts could definitely say that he could have played better last year.
Still top 5.
Let me ask you something, Toddy, real quick. And Shaun, you can answer too if you'd like, brother. But do you think that Jalen Hurts was the reason for us finishing the season that we finished the way we finished?
Absolutely. He had a role in it. I think that why do you lose like the last 5 or whatever 6 games that you were supposed to win? Like the Cardinals game, you guys shouldn't have lost that game.
So the OC didn't play, and the coaching didn't play a major role in any of this at all. It's Jalen Hurts.
It's everything. It's coaching.
Kaz, I'm with you.
It's coaching. It's Hurts has to play better. I mean, AJ's screaming at Jalen trying to get the ball. I mean, it's a little bit of everything. I do think he has something to do with it.
I think out of everything last year, based on what I've seen, this is me taking all my bias and throwing it out the window. Based off what I saw last year, I'm like, Hurts is the last guy I'm looking at. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he's a quarterback, so it's easy to point the finger at the quarterback. I understand that. I get that, you know. But it ain't like Hurts. It ain't like Hurts was just taking the league by storm, MVP caliber Hurts. I mean, we went 10-1, right? We went 10-1.
You could argue injuries played a role into it too. So
and
I mean, like, it's not just him, but I feel like he has some type of blame into it.
But it's not like Hurts is just missing wide open guys and throwing picks in these crazy windows. It's like we're put in a position to fail before we even have a chance for Hurts to do anything. We got DeAndre Swift in the backfield, a top running back in NFL who was averaging, again, the same thing that we did with Miles Sanders early on. The yards don't lie. The yards per carry don't lie. And we're not even giving him the ball, bro. Like, we're putting ourselves in a position to not succeed tremendously and then forcing Hurts to play hero ball. And it's like there's only so much you can do. Even when that's happened to guys like Tom Brady and the Peyton Mannings, it's like you can't play hero ball and hero ball your way to a Super Bowl. You need help. And yeah, you got Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, and, even Dallas Goedert, but all these guys at some point besides Devontae Smith has gotten a little bit banged up. So that's all I'm saying. I mean, like, outside of the offensive line being phenomenal, which it was last year, and Hurts being as good as me and Kevin believe that he is, the play calling is not there. And I get it. People who don't know football, not like football, but NFL football, think that, oh, well, if you're the guy, you can just be Peyton Manning from 2008 and just you call the plays. You wave off whatever your head. No, that is a rare thing. You got to be a very bold quarterback to go, no, I'm going to change everything that we planned for this last drive to win this game. Even the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, besides Patrick Mahomes, they do not do that. Josh Allen doesn't audible away from the play call. Okay, Aaron Rodgers can do it. Mahomes can do it. Not a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL truly will audible away from a play call when the game's on the line. They stick to the play call. And more often than not, you see it happen. There's bone. It's like you see a play that ends the game. It's like, what the hell was that? What? And all of a sudden, the blame goes straight to who? The quarterback. And Jalen Hurts last year, I don't recall seeing a single game where I'm like, damn it, Hurts, it's on you. Like Jalen Hurts, it's on you. And trust me, I'm very critical of my quarterback. But I don't recall saying that the most. I'm more so saying, what the fuck was that play? That I recall saying that a lot. I'm like, what? We're trying to win a game here? We're trying to, you know what I'm saying? Are we tanking? What's going on? Because
Julio Jones.
I can't blame my quarterback for having nothing there to work with at all. Just because you got AJ Brown and Devonta Smith doesn't mean you can just turn shit to sugar if the play call is trash. You got 2 yards to gain and you don't hand the ball off to DeAndre Swift. Instead, you drop back and you try to throw a seam route to Julio Jones, who's way past his prime. And you know, AJ's double covered. Devontae's he's not open. I don't know,
if we
man.
had to give a blame pie, I think we're in agreement. The blame pie would be like 15% out of 100.
Fair enough.
Hurts, but I mean, I feel like most of it would be.
Don't speak for me.
I feel like most of it would have to go on to coaching, your head coach in particular. But like
yes.
I'm not trying to go back into last year because this is a different team that you have this year.
Of course.
So it's a lot of hoping and wishing is kind of what I keep going back to. You're hoping Kellen Moore is going to be better than which I do think he will be.
He will be.
You're hoping and wishing. You're hoping and wishing that Kellen Moore is going to be this, that, and the third, and you're hoping he does better, which I do. Like I said, I do believe he'll be better than what was it? Brian Johnson was your OC last year.
Brian Johnson, yeah.
Yeah, so I think he'll be better than him. But like I said, we'll have to see what this week, but this year kind of entails. But injuries are part of the game, and I don't think Jalen Hurts was 100% going down the stretch of last year, and that's been even going into the MVP year. He was not 100% going to those last couple of games into the season. So you would like
which
to
is why he didn't win it, which he should have won it, and he didn't win it because of that.
So you would like to see him, get the majority of the season down and him to be healthy, to kind of see what your guys' full potential will be.
And then last thing I want to say is just somebody in my chat said, my friend Evan, he said, I think the play call plus QB decision making sometimes played into it. And it's just one of those things where I think everybody says that, but I'm like, I mean, I don't know what Eagles football y'all are watching, but I'm like, at some point, I feel like no quarterback can do. I don't think you can put Mahomes on the Eagles, and all of a sudden that play that Jalen Hurts didn't complete would have been completed because Mahomes was under center, who's the best quarterback in the NFL. Like that's all I'm saying. So people can blame Jalen Hurts a little bit. Just to conclude this, you can blame Hurts a little bit. That's fine. I'm not saying he goes off scot-free and he's not part of the problem. But you talk about the percentage pie. It's like I don't think that he was a major reason why we were losing games personally. And if everybody else does, I think that this will be a season where we prove you guys otherwise. Jalen Hurts is about to be on a freaking tear. No ands, ifs, or buts. Guarantee it.
And before I leave, anyone named Easton Stick in their top 5 quarterbacks? No. He led the Chargers under Kellen Moore to a top 15 offense.
Wow. That's a hell of a stat right there.
Easton Stick. So if he has Jalen Hurts, it's going to be a whole different show.
Hey, where did Easton Stick go to college? Same place as the guy that shoulda, coulda, woulda been an MVP. North Dakota State.
Oh, boy.
There you go.
They just haven't worked out. I thought it was Carson's fault, but it's obviously Easton's fault.
That's Easton's fault.
So, God damn it. No quarterbacks can live their dream out of North Dakota State.
That was a hell of a pull there, Kevin. That's a stat I've never even heard of. So
God damn
fantastic.
it.
Absolutely.
Probably a bunch of empty stats, just like the Nick Mullins stat with Andrew
Oh yeah,
Luck.
Nick Mullins with Favre and Mahomes.
A lot of bets.
Hey, that's a
No
season
contest.
because Herbert went down, what, week 3? My man got 14 games.
A lot of
Kaz,
context.
context matters. And Kaz, the one thing I will say in response to everything you were talking about is I tend to agree with you and Kevin more so just in the fact that I think it had a lot more to do with coaching. Like if we're doing a blame pie, 80% coaching, maybe 20% Jalen Hurts. And I really, when I think of Jalen Hurts and the Eagles down the stretch of that season, I think back to Kevin Hart's comedy special, Let Me Explain, where he just says, help me, help me, help me. That's where Jalen Hurts was at. That's why he got frustrated with Nick Sirianni. That's why Sirianni is on the hot seat, as he should be. And who knows, maybe Kellen.
Sirianni on a hot seat, Kaz. We never really got to get your. Kevin doesn't think so.
I'll say it briefly. I probably so. I mean, this would be a big season. It's Super Bowl or bust. We're in that position. Like we don't. What more do the Philadelphia Eagles need to win a Super Bowl? You know what I'm saying? It's Super Bowl or bust.
Is there a record that you see the Eagles going that's like Sirianni has to go?
If we don't win more than 10 games, he's got to go. Yes.
Yeah.
10 games.
Oh yeah. I'm saying that we can go 9-8. He's got to go. Not with this team, man.
What if it's a
Like
10
11 and
7
6,
like you
like
had
last
last
year,
year?
kind of like last year.
Exactly. Start hot, kind of like I had with the Dolphins predictions. It's like you start hot, but then you flame out towards the end. Is that really an impressive 10 wins?
I'll put it this way: if our 7 losses are by true competitors, he's fine. But if our 7 losses is the teams like the goddamn Cardinals and guys like not this team, not this team. Okay, honestly, I'm gonna ask you guys this: you're two Niners fans, right? Of course.
Yeah,
sure.
Would you love to have this Philadelphia Eagles offense on the Niners? Be honest. Would you swipe? Would you swap? You can say no, which is fine. You guys have a great offense. It's fine. You have CMC, you have Debo, you have Ayuk. Okay,
So we
great.
swap this offense for your guys.
So would you be like, oh my God, this is terrible. We have Saquon and AJ Brown and Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert. I freaking hate it here. Would you say
by comparison, yes, I would.
What the hell?
CMC, get CMC or Saquon.
What the?
I'm taking CMC.
Bro, no, I said the entire offense. All that's including offensive line. So yeah, you got Trent, but we got a great offensive line. Beautiful. We got
Kelsey
you got the best
walking through that door.
You damn right. We got Cam Jurgens. You got Cam Jurgens.
Our offense is really good though.
Listen, Jurgens is amazing. Okay,
All pro last year.
You have the best left tackle in football, possibly. We for sure have the best right
He
tackle.
just hates training camp.
No, I'm just saying. First off, I love Trent. It was awesome watching him walk out of the link after getting ejected for being a piece of shit that he is. That was amazing seeing in person. Okay, but Trent Williams is that man. He's that dog. Let's just call it what it is. All right, but he is arguably the best left tackle in football. Okay, arguably.
Ever.
Lane Johnson is the best right tackle in football, and ain't even close. Okay, so we got guys that can mirror your guys as well. CMC, yes, of course, I'm giving CMC the edge over Saquon Barkley. Now I know you're going to say
Kittle or Goddard. I'm taking Kittle. Injuries aside.
No, because the injuries are a part of George Kittle. So I'm saying, but at the end of the day,
Not last year.
Even at the end of the day, though, hear me out. At the end of the day, hear me out. Yes, I'll give Kittle the slight edge because I think he's more of a Goddard. Goddard's a very solid tight end, very solid. He's a great blocker. Okay, so is Kittle, obviously, but Kittle has that I can actually low key take over a game, and Goddard doesn't have that. That's the difference. But when it comes to receiving core, please look at this camera right now and tell me Brandon Ayuk and Debo Samuel and who's the other guy? Jawan Jennings, is he still there? Right? Did he go?
And Jawan.
No, Juwan's there.
Juwan's there. Okay, I was gonna say. Wait a minute.
Re-signed.
Okay. I was gonna say that was a big part, right? Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
And you have Devonta Smith and AJ Brown. You can't tell me you would not be mad at that flip flop. Please,
They love the wide back. They love the wide back. As you're about to be upset.
Don't lie and say.
You're about to say they love the wide back.
Don't lie and say.
They love to talk about scrimmage yards and all that type of shit here.
They're a better pure receiving core.
Okay. That's all. Listen, I'm not gonna tell you guys to say what you don't want to say.
I said the Eagles have a better pure receiving.
Oh, I thought.
Okay, cool.
You said they. So I figured
okay. Now Shaun's kind of look at the side. I'm not sure if he agrees with that. I think that Shaun might low-key take Debo and
he
Ayuk
loves
over
Debo.
Devonta Smith.
I mean, Debo put up 3
He
touchdowns.
took
Brown,
Malik Neighbors
bro.
over Debo last week, so he better take Devontae Smith over Debo.
Listen. All I'm saying
I plead the
is this.
fifth.
What I'm saying is the Philadelphia Eagles, those offensive guys, okay, and in comparison to the Niners, I mean, you got to just give credit where credit's due, dude. This offense should be phenomenal, which is why it is Super Bowl or bust. Now, I'm not saying I hope the guy would win, obviously, but like, man, I look at the NFC, I'm like, bro. Every time we match up against somebody, I guarantee I haven't even looked at the odds. I don't need to look up the odds. I guarantee we're favored every game besides maybe one. You know, thank you, Kevin. You know what I'm saying?
We're
You
back
know,
up.
you know what I'm saying, bro? I see that.
Back up.
I see that.
Kevin,
It's
But
a
like,
lot
for
of
the audio
hoping
only
and
listeners,
wishing.
could you please?
Yeah,
could you
Kaz,
please
to kind of go
remove-
back what you're saying, comparing like offenses, like I feel like our offenses are very similar, but I think the only thing that kind of comes down to is coaching. I think our coaching scheming is way better than
way better.
No.
Way better.
So that's why
And you have McCaffrey, which let's just call it what it is.
he's
That's the best running back. That's the best running back in the NFL.
yeah. So
Thank you.
that's why I feel like the edge is there. But like I said, it kind of just comes back. You're hoping that Kellen Moore is going to be able to scheme up these plays for guys that are talented like Devontae Smith and AJ Brown.
He did it for Eden
Got it.
Stick, Toddy.
Because
yeah.
you know, because if Shanahan had Devonta Smith and AJ Brown and Saquon Barkley and Dallas Goedert, you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
They're not going to win a Super Bowl. I'll say that.
You know what's going to happen.
So that's why you're kind of just hoping Kellen Moore is going to be able.
Toddy, he did this with the Chargers with nobody. That's not hope.
I'm not
Hope.
hoping. I'm not hoping anything because outside of Kellen Moore, the way Jalen Hurts as a leader is something that when he's gone someday, we're going to miss that tremendously. It's you when you have that. I mean, hell, you guys don't even have that. Would you say Brock Purdy's a leader? Let's be. Don't lie.
I'd say he's growing into a leader.
Growing into a leader versus Jalen Hurts, who is the leader.
I mean, we have other guys like Trent.
Trent is a leader.
Yeah, Trent.
Debo's a leader. Okay, the guys who speak for your team. Fred Warner is a leader. The guys who represent and speak for your team, that's a leader. Jalen Hurts, the entire
All
city,
those top 20 players are leaders.
The hardest city to play for, and everybody knows it because we have the hardest, realest fans in the world when it comes to sports. That's Philadelphia is backing this guy, and he's taking the reins by storm. I'm just saying, I'm just calling what it is, man. The Eagles, all bias aside, if I was just I'll say, give me a random team. If I was a Broncos fan, shout out to my guy Gray Wolf in my chat. If I was a Broncos fan, like, I don't care about the Eagles. Got nothing with the Eagles. Never played the Eagles, right? I would look at Philadelphia and be like, damn.
They have a really good offense.
They
have a
got
top 5 offense.
And we also have a possible okay defense. But that offense should not be a problem at all. And it's partially because – actually, not partially. A big chunk of it is because you have a leader like Jalen Hurts under center. You can't deny that. The team flocks to him. The players talk about him the way they talk about him. He's a top 20 player in the NFL because the players voted that. Give my man his credit, man. They're seeing something that y'all ain't seeing, man. Where's Purdy at?
Where's Purdy?
Not you know what I'm saying? Where's Purdy at, man?
28.
And that's
like
great.
You say that like it's so far away from 19.
No, it's not. It's not. And shout out to Purdy.
I'm sorry. What was hers?
15.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Give me those 4 spots, Shaun. You give me those 4 spots.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kaz, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
No, that was pretty much it, man. It's just one of those things where I just cannot foresee the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, everything that we do moving on this season, like if we do first off, what happened last year is not going to happen again. It's just not going to happen.
Can't.
That issue is fixed, and even if this, clip that, please. And even if for some reason the play calling from Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, maybe they're being weirdos again. Something about this team moving forward with Devonta Smith signed the big contract. AJ Brown obviously having his contract as well. Jalen Hurts, Kelsey's gone. Everything's like we're set up for success. These guys can't use an OC or a DC or anything as an excuse anymore. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to be great. You can clip that as well. They're going to be phenomenal. And I feel bad for any team that has to play Philadelphia, especially in Philly. It is going to be a problem. I guarantee you, without even looking at all, I guarantee it, we're probably favored every game to win every game this season, except for maybe two road games, and one of them might be Cincinnati in Baltimore. That might be it. That's it.
All right.
Go Birds,
We'll have
baby.
to wait and see.
Go Birds.
Get that propaganda
Yeah.
out of here. All right. Kaz, it's been a minute since you've been on, and so if you could just tell our audience where they can find you.
Yeah, shout out you guys for listening for as long as you did. If you want to check me out, I'm Kazzybear TV. I live stream on Twitch every day. I'm Kazzybear TV on YouTube. I do a lot of football takes, weekly picks, Eagles podcasts, pretty much all NFL news if I have the time to make videos. Kazzybear TV on Instagram as well. And then if for the random chance you are into fitness, I am a personal trainer. That's my job. My fitness Instagram is SSJ Kazzybear. Check me out. I do my thing over there full time. So
Man, many talents.
Fan of many talents.
you know, the
Where's
Eagles
the
need to sign. They got to sign me for one play, bro. I'll get them one. Hurts, throw it up in the air, bro. I got you on one, bro. I might not come down healthy, but I got you for one, bro. Just throw it up, man. Let me get one, man.
Against
I'm
Bradbury.
ready to die. I'm ready to die for that reception.
I would die for that reception for sure. I'm talking. Derwin James coming across, about to just tear me up, bro. I'm going up for that for my Lord and Savior Jalen Hurts. I'm coming down with that touchdown.
Hey, that has to be the last word of the pod. Just cut it.
Clip that.
Episode over. Just cut it.
Well,
My
make
Lord
sure to
and
give us a
Savior.
like on YouTube. It helps us a lot if you
Kevin.
enjoy the podcast. Hit subscribe to get notifications when we go live. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Stats Over Politics and on X at Stats Over Politics. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on all podcast platforms. And if you're enjoying the show, give us those 5 stars. We'd really appreciate it. As you guys have been tuned into episode 109 of Stats Over Politics. For my guys, Jaevon, Toddy, Kevin, Dent, and Kaz Johnson, I've been your host, Shaun Holko. Thank you for tuning in. And we will see you next week on episode 110 of Stats Over Politics for a full NFL season preview. We'll see you all
Bonnie's
then.
Hotline coming back next week, guys.
Let's go!